as a whole stream, as like a backup stream.
I would enjoy that, to be honest.
Which would get more viewers.
Yeah, like think of the think of the you know how they always advertise for series where you can have your own like little race control and you can switch through the cameras and the cars and stuff. You could do that for this, just with the pets. The pets with the face
slower class car ahead.
Would be fantastic, and also it would mean that if I'm talking very hypothetically here, if nothing was happening on the circuit at the time, you could jump over and have a look. I can't imagine a time where that would happen though, because we've been non-stop actually in the last couple of hours, Connery. But yeah, there's always a chance.
Yeah, always a chance. But we do have to return back to racing, otherwise the next commentary crew will come in and just go, what have they been talking about over the last couple of hours? But we are riding on board with the 13 here at the moment. Unlucky for some, but not unlucky so far for Full Tilt V Motorsports, because they're currently running in P4 in GT3 here
Gap
at
to
the moment.
Ace behind is now 12 seconds.
Of the 13 car, continuing to go along very, very well indeed. Still on the same lap as both of the GT cars further down the roads for P2 and P3, but there's still quite a considerable margin behind as you see the prototypes flash by, coming up in towards the Porsche curves. It's always a sketchy place to try and get past here, and it looks like Full Tilt V Motorsport will have another prototype to deal with as they get themselves through there. It's always awkward in this section because as sensible way through on you and not to like pinch you down onto a corner or something where your momentum and the limit of grip is just taking you to the track exit no matter what you do.
Slower class
that's
car
what
ahead.
A lot of prototype drivers actually struggle to comprehend sometimes, is that these GT3s, once they're committed to a line through a high-speed corner, they're going to take that line and they're going to take that normal track out, and there's nothing you can do.
Car on your left.
Clear left.
Clear on the left.
With some corners, the way that we have those converging lines, because the GT3s can't really do anything about it if they start drifting that a little bit wider, and the hypercars are thinking they've got the move done.
Right, so time to actually get up to speed.
And they can just carry on with every race, because it's not always that simple. And that's where we do often see quite a few of the little collisions that do take place between the hypercars and the GT3s, and at Le Mans, those little collisions can happen in those high-speed portions of the lap where there are corners. And at those portions of the lap here at Soho, it's the Porsche curves really that we're thinking about, and that is a tight part of the track where there isn't much margin for error. We've seen a couple of drivers have issues down there on consecutive laps so far in this race, and so it's very easy to see. We haven't seen too many of it yet, but it's almost guaranteed at some point that we will get the GT3 and a hypercar coming together for the Porsche curves, and it's not going to go well for either of them, and that's always the concern. But it's just that case of getting used to what the lines of the GT3s are.
The gap to Ace behind is now 12 seconds.
This isn't necessarily
the
highest competitive environment.
Hold your line. Clear right.
Clear on the right.
It's, of course, being a charity event, a little bit more friendly, a little bit more calm and collected in terms of how we're racing with each other. So we should be able to do that, and just the learning off of each other can be really, really helpful in that.
Yeah, it can really be. It's great to be able to gain that the extra information about. Again, there's different classes of cars that you might not necessarily race, right? And I would say, if you are a driver in one of these endurance series, for example, if it's a full-on league, for example, go out and do a couple of laps in some of the other classes of cars, see where they're potentially going to be strong or weak, and then that can maybe inform your judgments when you're in the fastest pass, for example, as to where you can get past, where is a safe and appropriate way and location to be able to get past. Just that, having that little bit of extra information would certainly be at least somewhat valuable, no matter what class you drive in, really.
Exactly, and it is great that we are kind
Have
of seeing
used-
those kind of curves
Looks
happen
like
over the
it's
course of this
Robert.
race, and we get towards the end of the
Jimmy's just rolled a Chloe.
We're starting to see that kind of settling in,
Oh.
just that consistency creeping. We saw a lot
Wait,
of
what
this
She's
in
asleep.
the first
Incredible.
few hours, around hours 3, 4. We saw quite a lot of
What happened?
carousels from Hugo.
Nah, I've just finished my triple stint.
Of late because drivers are just
I made 2 positions in this. I went from P10 to P8.
In the last little while, I think we'll expect a couple within the next half hour or so.
How's your stint going? I see you
just started back in. So it has been great to see how
not bad.
everyone's been able to get
That
through this.
car is a lap down.
Is now 10 seconds.
32,
Cheat
5.
is a stint suggestion at this point. It has all fallen apart.
And the quality drivers that we find in this community, which is
But
going
it's
so
fine.
well.
Yeah, absolutely.
The car behind you
It's
is
been
pitting.
incredible.
Jimmy
have
rated
everyone
oh
from,
dear, of like 700 people
in
in
terms
an
of
armed mod.
iRacing,
I don't know if any of the mods are in there actually.
but we have
Thanks.
people in triple digits all the way up to
I don't
7,
know
8,
if
9
she actually did get
in
raided.
terms
I'm
of
not
iRacing.
sure. No, she didn't get raided, I don't think, because
made an appearance over the course of this race.
Jimmy was shit.
Actually just gone
I fucked up.
Is now
pretty well.
18
You know,
seconds.
They say, oh, I'm gonna
it's
raid
used to be
this
respectful,
person and
seems to
just
be
forget.
sensible.
Just
Yes,
didn't
we've
raid.
had
Jimmy
there,
forgot
but
to
you
do
see
it
another
right.
one here from Bailey and then number
Oh, well.
16 there. That's a solo car.
Well, probably would have woken up and gone, what the hell?
Side, then
Hey, you're welcome, by the way. I was gonna put you into the wall, but everybody talked me out of it.
Oh, you would not have survived that if you did that. I would have made sure that you did not survive any happening.
But then I would have blamed it on Lars.
But each time give yourself again.
Yeah, in a very in a way that means that we've been able to go racing for so long, and with so many cars still out on the circuit. You know, we've just had that one single retirement over the course of the race so far, which really is fantastic to see. That after 9 hours, a field of 51 cars has only been
Right,
reduced
guys.
to 50.
Still
which is
there.
exactly
Play
what we
right.
want.
Clear on the
You could
right.
put in that argument. I think the Cookie Monster Motorsports car may have also
I was
dropped
gonna
out,
say, Jimmy
but they
rating
towards
an
the back of the
M-powered
GT,
streamer? That doesn't
3
sound
cars
right.
are
Cap.
still, pretty much 50 cars circulating the circuit, which is exactly what we want to see in our 3 classes, plus that Chevy with a Garnet
Gap ahead is now 18 seconds.
Try and drag it ever further into this race, as long as the car will, and race control will allow them to, because it's been a bit of a handful, and it's not getting any easier, is it?
No, absolutely not. So they're essentially nursing the car around, and they can't change the worn out brakes or or anything on that car. I mean, they can change the tires, and that's about it, right? You know, that's the only thing that's replaceable on that. So they have the transmission wear, and they've had the brake wear. So it's a big issue for them, and they're still struggling out there. Meanwhile, the 253 Sebastiano Rossi having a bit of a dramatic spin there, and well, continues on going. But yeah, we're getting into that portion where maybe once every couple of laps we'll have a bit of a high-speed spin or an instant like that, which affects one of our teams.
Exactly, and the high-speed parts of the circuit have been a little bit dangerous, haven't they? All race long, but we've started to see just them getting into that good window of pace and good window of operating at this stage. Pit lane time for Stephen Bailey in that
Don't get to me yet so quickly, Eduardo.
I see this. Bailey.
Drivers, and I think we have commentators on the race as a whole.
Oh, Bailey got back in.
It has been a busy
Now's your chance, Josh. That car is a lap down. 36.768. The lead is pitting
So
now.
much better now compared to earlier.
Towards the end of my last stint,
Yeah,
it
very
started to
consistent
really
indeed,
come
and
around again.
that's the thing that wins races. I mean, it wins championships when we get to like a multi-event season. You know, that consistency is a winning formula. But even in
There's an incident in
endurance race
Quatre
like this,
Rouge.
it's still, you know, yes, you're fast, but are you consistently fast? And that's the
The lead is pitting now.
differentiator. Over one lap, you might set the purple lap time, but if you don't get close to that every single lap, then you're not going to be at the very top of the field. But yeah, it's
done.
It's great to see them out there with you know, like you said, such a consistent amount of running and remaining in that third place in that final podium spot for the GT3s. Pretty good going, especially given the amount of team members that they have here, which means they're having to do a lot of driver changes.
Jesus Christ. You're lucky I got it stopped.
And it's become pretty much every pit stop now that they are seeing someone who get into the
car
right
side.
and that can be
Clear
a
right.
little
Clear.
bit not dangerous in any way, but a little bit concerning in terms of the pace on the start of the stints, because drivers may not have got in their iron early on. Of course, Jimmy was saying that he hadn't done a great deal of practice. Don't know how much everybody has done for the team, but it does take a couple of laps just to be able to get back into the rhythm of the track here, like the Circuit de la Sarde, and so that has held them back. I think that's what I was trying to say, but it's held them back a little bit in this race, but they're still up in the top 3, still performing really well, and good to see that they have got so many drivers involved, because you know we can only have so many cars on the grid, but to fill all the drivers into each car.
The gap to Lockwood ahead is now 18 seconds.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jimmy
absolutely.
did raid
I
Chloe.
mean,
She's got
what
273
we
viewers
have in
right
terms of
now.
stints for Doug
Oh,
and
fucking
Racing
hell.
at the moment. We've had Mark Nuska have a stint, Jimmy Broadbent have a stint, Sam Winton stint, Adam Hodgkinson stint.
And there's a Gavin in chat.
Nikolai Maslakis have a stint. We had Phil Baldwin have 2 stints.
Our
Chris Davis have a stint.
favourite
and
Irish
Oscar
boy.
Harwick have 1 stint. So it's so actually
Yep.
Stephen Bailey, who's behind the wheel of the car
I'll
right
ask
now,
him
is,
if he-
will be the
how he's
second
doing.
driver in that Doug Henson Racing yellow car to take it on another
Hopefully he's
field
all right.
stint. You know, that's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, it just shows how much not necessarily diversity, but how many people have had
Lockwood
in the car
is
and
now
how
on
much
prime race.
stuff has
Slower car
changed
ahead.
around
This
in
guy's
the
got
Phil's
competition.
in the
So
chat,
we'll
so
see
he's
if
a
that
mod.
continues
Oh,
right the way
yeah.
to the end, but
You're
they
right
are
then.
coming in very nicely indeed, and to have that margin back to full tilt, it's
Phil,
good for them to
Phil
be able to
convinced Jimmy to do it. And then Jimmy's just like, you fucking kidding? She's fucking asleep. Everybody's just screaming scam.
Clear on the left.
Yep, fair enough.
Its own race leader, so move for overall position, just not quite a move for class position.
Yeah, absolutely. We will get a very quick interview because we're
Gavin,
coming up towards the end
Gavin
of
was
our
talking to
commentary
Taco
stint here, so
Johnson,
we'll
said
try
that
and
he's
make this
just
one quick, but
pulling
we
himself
will,
out of a bad
drag
depression
the
hole, but
wonderful
he's
Kay
feeling a little bit
Right
better.
side.
into
Clear
the
right.
race.
Clear.
This is representative of the
So hopefully he'll
BMW
be,
Power, the
hopefully he'll be
558
back soon.
effort,
around
here
again,
in this
yeah.
race, currently
Yeah.
residing in P9.
I do love me
in the
some gap
hypercar,
talk.
That car is the left down.
category
My-
at the moment.
my
long lost
cousin.
cousin.
Okay, lads, just keep getting your marks. This is looking good. P3. You've just done a 3:31.4.
Comparing to the start of the race to now, it's been night and day. At the start of the race, when my first double stint was happening, I was very frustrated, and now the fortunes have very much turned, so I'm in a way better mood.
Yeah, absolutely. Just describe me how your race has gone so far, because it seems like a bit of a roller coaster at the moment.
There was a lot of ups and
Just
downs.
an FYI,
It was not very
The
good.
supercar is apparently having some really bad brake struggles right now, because the
some
brakes are falling off.
stuff,
so they're
What,
going
brakes
to...
didn't wear?
deservedly
What?
so.
Well,
Good job from the
apparently they
stewards,
do,
and
because the
so
supercar is having a
then
really
from
tough time
pretty
right
much
now.
last went up to, I don't know, P6.
So they said, just
Then we had
so you
a
know,
lot
they're
of
going to
bad
be even
incidents
slower
with
on
traffic,
quarter entry than they have been.
which were
So, yeah.
most of the time out of our hands, but that's just racing. What can we say? So did my double stint, have not
The
had a
gap to
bad time.
P3 ahead is now
Did
18
a 1
seconds.
hour power nap, came back for my impromptu double stint because there's also bad luck on the driver's side because there are technical difficulties, internet issues. So I just hopped in like thinking, oh yeah, that's an impromptu double stint, P10.
I didn't
Okay, we
think
have
brakes
to
degraded in
fast repairs
iRacing,
used.
but maybe on cars
Got
that
like the
aren't
best of the
normally
situation,
used for
so I'm getting
endurances,
caught
they
again,
do?
and I'm just going.
I don't know.
So
But then
turns
again,
out
they-
after double stint we're P9.
Well, Bathurst 1000.
Yeah, it's a long race, but
It's a long race, but I think we would have gone past the race distance by now for Bathurst 1000.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're going for it. So I did a triple, got caught them, overtook them on track. They are currently in front of us again, but it's only 6 seconds, and they're on their outlap, and I think we are in a way better position than we were 2 hours ago.
Yes,
Lockwood ahead is increasing.
It's great to see that you're now in that position, setting yourself up for this sort of night portion of the race. You're currently sitting, what, about on track? You're about just over 5 seconds behind Arctic Sim Racing Green at the moment. So
Mills, car
looks
number
like you're continuing
41.
on well. You're slightly off cycle compared to them. I mean, there's 2 laps in it.
Go right.
Cycle and
Left side, clear, go
the
right.
rest of this race then, because it looks like you're very close to P8. Anything higher than that, is that on the cards, or are you comfortable sort of being in that bottom end of the top 10?
Currently,
now that the track is much cleaner, the tyres are warm, it feels a lot better.
You know,
Yeah,
go too far out of
Holy
the window
shit,
in
Gavin,
terms
you're
of
fucking alive.
shooting high. Like, I think
Fucking hell. Man, I'm so glad to see you. You wouldn't believe I was so fucking worried because you were just completely AWOL.
I said
Go right, go right.
Seriously.
Slower class car. This driver's rep is below average.
I'm about to go and sleep, but I hope you are hearing this. Just let me say, Gavin, I'm fucking glad you're okay. Seriously. I was worried that something happened to you and no one knew anything.
30.642.
very long, so
I said what I needed to say.
we want to bring the car
Like I said, I just hope you're actually doing okay.
That's the
Man, please
sometimes a big
respond
ask,
to your
especially
Discord
with,
stuff, the
a couple of
PMs
problems
once in a
that
while.
other cars have
Especially
bumped
when-
into over the course of
especially
this
when you
race,
go
but it seems
AWOL.
like, you folks have been able
Fucking hell.
to go along
You
very,
had
very
me
well
worried, man.
so far
Seriously.
in this race. So I'll let you get back
Glad
to your
to see
team,
you alive.
as we have to switch commentators
Right.
over here. But
Slamty
it's
time.
been fantastic to have you, Kay, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you a little bit later on as well, maybe in towards those morning hours to see how things have gone.
Yeah, I've got a stint scheduled towards the end of the race, so you'll probably hear from me like 1.5 hours.
There's an
to
incident
2 hours to
in
go.
Mulsanne. It looks
We'll
like
see.
it's Mills.
All right, yeah, absolutely. It'll be great to have you, but hopefully
There's an
the
incident
next
in
couple of
Dunlop
hours for
curve.
you
You
guys
think it might be
goes
Mills?
along well, and you're in a good position for the final part of the race once we get there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Niels K. Batsman there from the BMW M Plower 558 effort, currently residing in P9 in your hypercar category. Since we've clicked over to 14 hours and 59 minutes left to go, myself and Dara will have to say goodbye to you in terms of our commentary efforts. We will be back though as a duo for the very end of the race. So the last 3 hours would be myself and Dara, but it's been absolutely fantastic to be able to commentate on these portions of events, and you know we will be back later on, but we'll have to pass the torch right now to the one, the only Ron Mounts and Brad Dalton. Take it away, folks.
Thank you, Connery. Thank you, Dara. Awesome show that y'all put on thus far, and what an awesome event to be a part of. Hey, folks, hope you're all enjoying this race, and hey, we got a whole lot of racing action left to go. It's myself, Ron Mons, and Brad Dalton going to be with you on this broadcast for the next couple of hours. Brad, welcome into the booth, man. This is going to be a heck of a lot of fun here tonight. Oh, hello there, Mr. Brad. Hello there, Mr. Dalton. I think his mic may be muted.
Slower class car ahead.
Commentator rule number 1, Ron. Remember to hit the unmute button, and if you have 2 mute buttons, make sure you hit both mute buttons.
I've done that so many times, man. Don't worry.
I was just, we'll run this one again like it didn't happen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's nice to be back
on your lane and stick with it,
please. To enjoy some racing.
That's too hard.
From what I understand here, while I've been out the past few hours, Ron, things have gotten pretty exciting, pretty fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what the next few hours and what the nighttime here at Le Mans brings.
And first off, we have some fantastic racing action going out there on track. 3 class battles, which I'm sure are going to be intense all the way to the end of this 24-hour-long event. And we're also here raising money for a fantastic cause, and already have raised a lot of money. 4,240 euros raised belong to the
29.3.
29.3 with fuel saving.
And it has been fantastic to see all the support for this wonderful charitable organization, and really looking forward to seeing that number continue to tick up as we go throughout this race. As it stands presently in the hypercar category is the number 21 Olympus Esports Atlas car. They are your leaders at the present moment, about 1 minute and 9 seconds is the gap between themselves and Taylor Mills Racing.
V8 supercar, look out!
In LMP2,
side.
it is
Clear left.
the
Clear.
Oh, it's blinking.
Oh, and then they
Oh dear. Oh dear.
In the lead in LMP2, that is the driver behind the wheel of that effort. They lead
Right at a very
2.5
inopportune time.
minutes being the gap between themselves and Chris Stevenson in the 121. So that's a pretty big gap there. In GT3, talk about a big gap. Holy cow! Alex Gale in the number 64 machine, currently extending that gap down to 2 laps.
Clear left.
Clear on the left.
Category.
Lockwood
It's been
in
a
front
race
is now
for
15
sure, and these drivers
seconds.
continuing to whittle the laps away. Now into the night shift, the nighttime radio broadcast here on RaceBot TV.
Yeah, I don't know who decided to put us together on nighttime, but this is going to be a fun one to stick around
Chloe,
with. So,
after
if
the
you
race,
have been
she's
enjoying the production so far, well,
feeling
things are about
better.
to get wild because it's nighttime here at Le Mans.
After doing this.
Ron, you know just as well as I do that, well, anything
Yeah, I
can
hope
happen
so.
at the nighttime. The ghosts come out
I
to
know
play,
it's
the
been a
French
stressful
countryside
week, but
decides the French countryside, and things can get
we're all
wild.
friends
I
here.
say it all the time. I don't even
It was
think
definitely not the most friendliest
really
of meetings.
proves safety there for Satellite Racing Solar
Yes,
as much as we want to think.
Stressful to
Kat Kassermi here
stop that whilst you're in the middle of doing an oil flash, and you're just like, come on, now's not the time, I'm busy.
But I think getting away with it mostly.
It made me feel really old
just
for a little bit.
Of taps, just kind of scratching the front end a little bit, and well, the paintwork might not be perfect, but hey, after a 24-hour race, it rarely is.
You know, the amount of flies and bits of rubber that get stuck into the front of these race cars, they aren't winning any beauty pageants at the end of these 24-hour-long races. But maybe it's just my perspective, being the hardcore racer that I am. I usually just see that as adding character on to these race cars. I remember going to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum a couple of years ago before they did the massive renovations that they have done over the past couple of years, and just seeing some of those cars that have won the Indy 500 over the years, seeing them peppered with flies, mosquitoes, all sorts of bug life, rubber all over that car.
Right side. You're in the middle. 3 wide. Clear,
or in the middle, 3 wide.
At the end of these races, and you certainly see that a lot in all the big enduros, whether it be
right.
Daytona,
Hold your line.
Clear
right.
Clear on the right.
You just get those small little scrapes here and there, and behind every single scrape and dent on some of these race cars is a story behind it.
Yeah, my favorite thing about
started to go for the move, hesitated for a split second, and then just stuck where it was. It's like, okay.
It looks like Lockwood
on display in the infield at
The car in front is pitting.
It's pitting. Lockwood in front is pitting.
As is. So it had all of the rubber, all of the, scars, scratches, everything there. It was absolutely amazing to see, and it shows through the virtual cars.
Amazing how significantly it goes when you're actually flying.
They get a bit
51.00.
It's around Le Mans go very quickly.
13.5-kilometer circuit that is just challenging in ways that I can't really explain.
The last one, to be fair, felt like it was dragging a little bit.
Looking
it's
at
probably
the
because the car
iRacing
didn't feel
track
good.
map of
You're
this
just like, I've had enough. Wow.
33 turns in all. I
Slower class
was
car ahead.
counting the
Like
amount
this,
of
it's
turns
like,
on
oh,
the
this is what I
VIR
wanted.
Grand Layout. Anyone who's driven around that track, there's a very
it's always
bizarre
nice to be
comparison
driving
make,
into
but
good
driving around the VIR
conditions,
Grand
driving
Circuit
fast.
is a bit like doing laps around a very upset tapeworm. It is a very twisty track.
But yeah, Le Mans
I was
and
actually
Spa
counting the corners
tend to go very quickly.
either with its own unique number or it's marked as turn 14A
Daytona
or turn
stints
14B.
forever.
Lots of examples of that.
I think that's just how
Clear on the left.
That track has
the short nature of the track.
34 turns.
Yeah.
At the end of it all, so actually,
Same with
one more
right.
What a
Clear.
fucking idiot.
Volumes about how twisty that track is and how
You got the course, you've got to slow down and give up that time.
It's such a big difference, though.
You need to slow down if you don't want a penalty.
You know, we talked about it earlier in commentary, just how flat out
What's
this
about
track is.
VTubers?
75% of the lap, you're
Yeah.
open throttle.
You better be
and
sorry.
just absolutely sending it. So you just have to be brave all the way around this track, and anything
Can't
can
trust.
go wrong at any time. And as we can see, if
Sorry,
things
good
go right, they
avoidance.
go very
Yeah,
right.
could have
Especially
been
if you
worse.
look at our class leaders.
Because that is the Taylor Mills
looking
move
at
that happened to me in practice, and I thought, yeah, I'm not going to try and make the corner, I'm just going to give up and go down the escape road.
Long into our time on this
Yeah.
broadcast, Brad, that we will bring in our first
That was a
interview,
good
and
race.
it's going to be Ruby Nekomata. I apologize for the butchered name pronunciation. Who will be joining us here in the commentary booth in a couple of moments. Part of the Queen's Design number 56 in LMP2. Ruby, welcome into the booth, and I want to ask you how this race has gone thus far.
It's not been too great. I mean, the start was really great. We got pole, and Amia was just absolutely flying. And then we hit a few issues once AC got on the car. We had a few issues of our own, also just getting unlucky. And once Haley got made contact with somebody else, or I forget what happened, I wasn't there at the moment. But when I got in the car, we were about 17th in class, and we were just absolutely nowhere now. But I mean, you know, it is what it is, and we're gonna keep our head in it because it's for a great cause, and we're having fun. And everybody, Mia and I are just trying to train everybody else in our team with this race, and it's kind of a trial by fire. But you know what? That's the fun of it, I guess.
Yeah, it's just an event to raise some money and have some good fun. Certainly a good result would be some nice bragging rights to have at the end of the tournament. But just here to have some fun and raise some money for a fantastic cause. And
back in fifth. 32.7.
Bei Amazon bieten wir unseren Mitarbeitern bis zu 8.000 € für Aus- und Weiterbildung. Damit sie sich nützliche Fähigkeiten aneignen können. Für die
Feeling
Arbeit
drunk and thinks I can't make that
und
extra
zu
lap,
Hause.
but I can.
thanks for chats that you would like before we let you go.
Thanks to Samantha Tan for letting me do a
That
stint
must
at her
be
shop.
close on that.
I was
Slow
actually
down.
at a Cars and Coffee event that she
Yeah,
held.
it was right on it.
I had this race today.
Walking
and I was like,
the
no,
wire.
I need to do a stint. I need to actually race here, but also I want to go to Cars and Coffee. And she was like, why not just do a stint at the shop on one of her sims? And so I had Samantha Tan and Neil Verhagen just behind me giving me like pointers and stuff. I felt kind of nervous, but it was a lot of fun. New rig and everything, it was pretty fun. So thank you to them. And thank you to Queen's Design and Anor Rose for letting us race and putting this team together. And thank you to, I don't know, thank you to, yeah, that's it. I can't think of anything funny.
I was fully expecting, I'm trying to remember now, who was the Monty Python, John Cleese, who thanked everyone
Coming
on
up
Earth,
on a
Mother
slower car.
Teresa, just went through the whole list of everybody on Earth. So I was expecting that. We may end up getting that from someone between now and the end of my time here on the show. But Ruby, thank you for joining us, and we'll let you get back with your team.
Clear left. Clear.
Alrighty, Brad. So got a chance to have a chat with some of these drivers, and by and large, as much as some of them may be happy about the position they find themselves in, or maybe a bit less happy if they have had some trouble in the early stages, overall just united for a very good cause.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, you know, with the charity events. And I always say that every time there's an endurance event, that we're raising money for a great cause and, you know, doing something to support something bigger than sim racing, I'll say, and not just racing for, you know, the crown and for the win. Just being here is fun. You know, everyone's here and running for something, and everyone is here, you know, to support the cause. And
Early, and you don't
Still there. Clear left. Clear.
So, you know, everyone here is looking to support that support that and kind of just enjoy the
coming up on a slower class.
The car in front of you, pitting.
Storm is pitting. Storm ahead is pitting.
You go here and just enjoy the event and enjoy things through. Riding on board with the 58 LMP2. Who wants a soda? Well,
the car on your left.
Earlier, Diet Dr. Pepper's
Hold your line.
Clear.
And I did take my break out of the booth and go get a Diet Dr. Pepper. It's been delicious. So, who wants a soda? Well, I got a soda, so I hope somebody else is getting a soda as well as they go through. They're running there. Again, in P10, but I don't think at the end of the day the positions are all that big. Is being able to say you won a big deal? Yes.
Hold your line.
Nice.
Clear on the right.
Always what this is about.
Yeah, and certainly just raising money for a good cause is very nice to do in terms of spending time on the sim rig. Getting some wins is nice, but helping out some people all across the world is certainly good as well. And as we are following this number 58 in that Who Wants a Soda car, yeah, I will say, continuing on the soda discussion right before this show,
30.858.
So that was 3:30.9 seconds.
The car behind you, pitting.
As I was on the air, so usually I think, yeah, broadcaster probably want to stick with water. For some reason, I tend to gravitate
There's an incident in
maybe for like a
curve.
slight
Looks like
caffeine
it's
boost
Storm.
or something like that. I'm a wimp when it comes to caffeine. Here's a first of many stories that's probably going to be shared by me during my time on this broadcast. So buckle in, folks. Back in 2018, the day before my brother's wedding, my older brother gave me a can of Red Bull to have. Just gave me a single can, and back then I'm trying to remember. So that's why my room's starting to fill up with smoke because I'm thinking too hard. I was 14 at that point in time.
The gap to Storm behind is increasing. It's now 2:43.
I took a couple sips of it,
Slower
and on
class
the
car
drive
ahead.
back from the reception dinner the night before the wedding, I was in the car in the passenger seat with my dad alongside, and for the entire car ride I was just
Car
going,
right.
Clear right.
Clear on the right.
So I'm not sure what happened with that Red Bull, but I feel like it must have changed
I just
something
read the
inside me.
steward announcements, and it says that the 77 is going to retire.
I mean,
Like
it probably
gold.
get wings if I had to guess, but that's amazing.
Yeah, I noticed
of course,
that they
we
had
a wonderful admin for the event.
another incident being investigated.
Of the day. I respect that. I'm trying to save mine for what will be the fun for me. It'll be the early morning commentary, but of course.
And it's the same thing. It's just like, oh, they didn't mean any ill intent, blah blah blah. It's just like, yeah, still. The twins must have had an incident because they're being investigated.
I might get yelled at by our producers behind the scenes, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. So those morning hours here at Lamar are going to be great. You know, if it's not Red Bull, if it's not an energy drink, if it's not a Diet Dr. Pepper or a full sugar Pepsi, it's definitely going to be some cake around the mall. That is all I will say on that one because, well, I'm not going to say something too wild.
Yeah, oh boy, not touching that one.
There's a lot of people in this race that try to go left.
Full sugar Pepsi is enough to jolt me for one of these shows, and keep the
They
energy
keep trying to
flowing,
be
and,
like, oh, well, I was
not,
just trying to get out of the way, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, just don't do
I know you're a
that.
little bit farther
Just-
south on the East
just
Coast
drive.
than I am, as we see side-by-side racing heading
It's a
off
very
through
easy
into
concept.
the Indianapolis section. That's involving
The
some
one's
of the
not a
contenders
hard
in
track, it's not
LMP2
Nürburgring.
at the present moment.
No,
That's like
no,
some
multi-class
very
at Lamar
off-the-road
is
stuff,
so
doing some
easy.
GT3
So it's
traffic,
hard
and
to learn, but
that's
once you have
always
it,
gonna be a
it's
big factor in a race like this here
sticks
at
in your
Le
head.
Mans, and,
You just
and
know
especially
it.
you do have those long
Yeah,
straight
like-
where you can dispatch
like
up some
Sebring.
traffic. You get
Sebring
into
is
the
a
things
hard
season, and the
multi-class
next thing you know,
track.
that traffic
Yeah,
discussion is
that's
going to be either a good
But, like,
difficult to learn, but
just
once
an
you have it,
absolutely
you know it.
terrible one. It can go either
Daytona,
way, but still
easy.
some side-by-side
Le Mans,
racing going on involving these two teams. And who wants a soda card? The number 58
It's just
on the
like-
outside, maybe needing a
I don't know. There's just too many people who have never done this before, and it really shows
I
in
think
this
it's a
race. And
good
they
run
keep
too to
playing
watch
the
these cars
well, we
come
didn't
through
do it on
tonight.
purpose
10
thing.
stints
And
of
it's like
Le
you don't.
Mans.
There doesn't have to be ill intent for you to be in the wrong.
29.939. Left side.
If I
Clear on
tripped
the left.
somebody in
You're
a
back in
hockey
fourth
game,
position.
I didn't do it on purpose, but it's still a penalty.
Concentration.
Yeah.
It's dark, you know, the entire view of the track that they got used to is
That's a
different.
cut.
Riding
No,
on
it's
board
not.
right here with Dogbox Racing Alpha.
Lucky, you know what?
Nuh-uh.
You were all 4 tires inside the white line.
Too crazy going on there. Just have to hold on to it and get through. But one little moment like that goes the wrong way. You know, earlier in the race, one of the things we saw a lot was that the GTPs love to lock up the back end and just absolutely spin off, and then the GT3s love to pull the dock hubs.
I'm gonna switch my I'm gonna switch everything over to the sequential stick and do next stint with that, okay? Nothing like a formula rim and a sequential.
From the number 06. Just missing an apex here, slightly off the line there, but that can all add up.
I ran the GT1 race with the sequential, and it was my arm wanted to fall off when I was done. It was terrible.
Too much gripping that knob.
Oh my god, I was all over that knob.
Alright. Clear on the right.
That was honestly, no joke, the hardest combo I've ever driven.
That's some bravery that you're going to see from the GTPs and hypercars. I should say.
Car on your left.
Clear
left. Clear on the left.
Nope, it is a hypercar. But the hypercars haven't played the game of lap traffic chicken, as I like to coin it, going for some moves.
I see 69-time F1 world champion ahead.
Game of lap traffic roulette, so to speak, for an event like this. You want to go for the dives, you want to try and deal with the traffic as best as you can, but sometimes it may not
He's a nice person.
for you. We'll note the
He is a nice person.
He's a lovely guy.
Being driven by
Absolutely fantastic human being. Hit him.
So we'll have to see how they shake out.
He's a nice guy. Fuck him.
And the number 42 car currently slotted in second in the LMP2 class. Still very early doors into this race. Haven't hit the halfway mark quite yet. We'll be doing that in Brad and I's time on the air. And touching back on the point you raised a few moments ago, Brad, I believe when you come back into the booth later on at 11, I'll be joining you for the first hour. So
there's an apex there somewhere.
The late shift right to midnight. You're actually carrying on slightly
just
later than me. So my salute goes out to you.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I always enjoy those real late night, early morning stints. I like the sunrise of the endurance races because it just kind of adds
Coming up on a slower class car.
extra energy into the race. You know, you hit that night
Car right.
here for the drivers.
Clear on the right.
I think it might be Ruto.
Clear right.
And then that sun starts to shine a little bit. The sun starts to rise. The morning starts to hit. And then it just injects a new energy, and it's like the race comes alive again and just gets absolutely wild, and you never know what's going to happen or where things are going to land, and it just mixes things up, and things get absolutely amazing as it comes through.
Right, what's that?
29.966.
And the number 121 car getting a big checkup. That, I believe, is coming out of the second chicane. It was just on the screen before we saw that replay, trying to get spun back around in the right direction. Here is a moment involving Sean Langton in the 555 car. That's heading off right towards the beginning of the lap. A big sideways snap and taps the wall ever so slightly.
Entering Indianapolis. Gem the car behind, because there are a lot of fucking Ferrari.
So that's not the ideal
Yeah.
way to tackle the
Every car is faster into every high-speed
I
turn.
believe we have Jessica Perry waiting in the interview waiting area, and I think I have some technical issues from my perspective, so I believe I'm going to pass this interview off to you if you'd like to have a chat with her.
Yeah, let's bring in Jessica Perry here. And Jessica, good. Well, I'm going to say morning, afternoon, evening. I don't know what time of day it is, but Jessica, how is Lamar treating you and your team?
Well, we're not even halfway through, and we've fused, across the two teams, we've used 5 of our faster cars already, so... Yeah.
Coming up on a slower car. Gap to P3 behind is now 19 seconds. Incident in Arnage. It looks like
what the challenges have been for the race and where really the Rainbow Racing teams are sitting.
Accident
and
in
what
Arnage.
the end goal is going to be for your teams
I
here.
will take a look.
So the end goal, as always, is just to finish the race. We don't care about where we finish. It's all about finishing. The main issue probably
Just like a little spin of Rooney, nothing serious.
And then later in the stint when the tires get worn off.
Spin into the gravel, no contact with anything, all good. It took the esports line heavy on the curb and it knocked the rear end around.
That's why I never ever do it. LMP1 hated it. LMP2 hates it. I don't do it in GTP.
It's not worth it. Wow, a tenth of a second, but every time you do, you have to risk putting the car into the wall. No thanks.
Finding the car.
You can get that extra tenth from somewhere else.
So
yeah.
Yeah. I think Bailey's our fastest driver. We just set a personal best that lap, so we're going good at the moment.
Glad to hear. And then, how did you all decide the
Lower
Porsche?
class car ahead.
Because there's
He's their
so
class
many
leader.
different GT3 cars. How did you all decide to run the Porsche?
Got it.
Left side, clear on the left.
Of all the GT3s I've driven, the Porsche just suits me the best, and I think the others all prefer the Porsche as well, so it was quite an easy decision for us to choose.
Awesome. And Jessica, just kind of, how important is it for you for this fundraiser here?
If they cut the course, you'll have to slow down and give us the car.
Anyway,
we need to slow down a bit if you don't want a
through the
penalty.
race. Kind of talk to me about the significance of this fundraiser, kind of how it helps
motivation to not overspeed the pit.
Watch your speed limit in the pits.
The importance
Engage
of
the
it.
limiter. Box in 420
Right.
meters.
Our motto
Hit me again!
So it's why I set up Rainbow Racing in the first place, to give
Pit box in 10.
LGBTQ
Box
plus
in
people
5,
a place, a
4,
community
5,
where they can
3,
themselves
2,
race.
2,
So it's
1.
Box now.
Right here.
to raise money for charity as well.
Awesome. And Jessica, final question before I let you go back to your team here. What is your favorite soda?
Didn't chew the tires too hard, that's good.
Thompson, car number
Bailey,
21, is leading the race. The boys and the twin turn got a warning.
With Monster Energy, which is not the one that I'm sponsored by.
Racing Incident, be more
That's
careful.
okay. I'm sure the sponsors will understand, especially trying to get through an endurance
These are
race,
the Iceland special tyres.
Jessica,
We're going to
is there
respect
anyone
them
you
for the
wanna
first
thank or
lap.
shout out before we let you go back and hang out with your team for the final 14 and a half hours?
I'd like to say thanks to my girlfriend Zoe. Hi Zoe.
The pit exit's clear.
Awesome. And Jessica, good luck to your team for the rest of this race, and thanks for stopping in to chat.
Thank you.
And that right there was Jessica Perry joining us here in the commentary booth. Again, nice to have a chat with some of these drivers as they continue to tackle this race. Obviously going to have a whole lot of transfers all throughout. Many different drivers coming in throughout, and just good to see it. That is for certain. Here's a moment for Grant Yingling. We saw him have a moment not terribly long ago. He has another one.
How
this
long's the
time
track in a
coming out
minute?
of Porsche, as is, I don't believe he was alone in that GTP
We are
category.
checking.
As,
It is
I'll rewind my mind
19C.
eventually. Hypercar. It's Hypercar. Here's a Hypercar, the number 41 BMW.
Bit nippy.
Taylor Mills having a
A
moment
little
heading
bit
off to the
nippy.
Indianapolis section of corners. A series of corners which, despite just being two left,
Andrew,
90-degree
he's reeling you in. The gap's now 1.9 seconds.
to try and nail down.
Yeah, no.
The car behind is closing on you. The gap is 2 seconds.
Indianapolis and Arnage are hairpins. Even if they're just 90-degree corners, they feel like hairpins, and they're very difficult. And
I take it the number 11 behind us does owe a pit stop soon.
Not as good of a driver as every other driver that's on track right now. That is where the lap goes downhill for me. I can run through Mulsanne and have no issues at all, but as soon as I hit Indianapolis, through the Porsche curves, that's where my lap goes absolutely downhill. It is deceptively difficult.
Left side.
That section.
Clear left. Clear on the left.
20 if you want to give it the corner number through 33. But Indianapolis, Arnage, Porsche curves, Ford chicanes, that section of track is so deceptively difficult, and it just, you make one small mistake and it's completely game over when it's all said and done. I can't really say how hard that is.
Yeah, I gotta say, picking out a hard corner to drive around here is a rather tough ask because look, I mean, it's some of the most iconic corners in the world of motorsports are here at Le Mans, but there's also so many that they're incredibly rewarding when you nail them down, but if you have a little mistake heading through there, it is so tricky to try and get right.
Car on your left, clear on the left.
Andrew, closing the gap. It's now 0.18. I would probably end up saying, strangely enough, the exit out of the first chicane. I don't know what it is. I feel like in certain cars, I can never nail down the exit coming out there. Maybe it's just me not being a very good driver. You'll become to realize if you ever see me in the sim that there's a good reason why I'm behind a microphone instead of behind the wheel. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, but the exit out of the first chicane was always the big trouble spot for me, Brad. I'll pass it off to you and say, what's a section of this track that has been you the hardest over the years?
Easily the second Porsche curve every time. I don't know what it is, but I can get through the first Porsche curves and be fine, and then when you come through 25, 26, things just absolutely go down.
Still there.
It is a horrible
Still there. Hold your line. Clear on the left.
Now, speaking of that section of the track, with Andrew Taphorn and the BMW hypercar pulling off a beautiful move there to get into P5, that was a brave move to run that car through the Porsche curves, the section of the track that I genuinely dislike the most. Send that through and around, and now you come through the
39.381. Car on your left, clear.
Curve for the next lap, and really at that point you have that pass secured there for fifth, and you just have to kind of keep going here at the moment.
Okay, Lars, the next car is Andrew, car number 11. Their rating is 4.3. The gap to P3 ahead is increasing. It's now 0.7.
In the hypercars, man, I'm going to fall into the same thing you've fallen into to get that number 11 pump crew car around and up, and now we hop on board with the 557, the BMW Power, which was the car that the pump crew passed. Andrew Taphorn did, and now just kind of try to find
right side, stay right, clear on the right.
It is so hard once you get past and that gap opens up to close things back up, but you have to.
You're losing on the car in front.
Ayla, come on, you should know better.
1.4 seconds.
Getting the sister car to hold up somebody else is not funny.
No way they missed that.
Speaking of Olympus Esports, we actually have the co-owner of Olympus Esports.
Let's do announcements and you'll see.
Oh no, Taylor.
Waiting there in the interview waiting area, so I'll drag him into the booth here. Charles, welcome into the booth, man. You thought you were gonna have a day break away from me, but you would be wrong. Welcome into the booth, man. How's it going?
Ron, it is always good to hear your voice. How are you, sir?
I am doing pretty all right. We have
That's not
cool.
Car ahead.
Minutes here in the booth on this broadcast for an absolutely wonderful cause, and seeing your team run up at the front overall.
Yeah, having a good run so far. We've had a couple issues here and there, but the guys have really done a great job.
Is now 1.2.
Not just in preparation, but in the race as well. And we're looking forward to,
They're claiming that they just didn't want to be dive bombed in the Tetra Rouge, and that was the reason why they defended. But that's not a good enough reason.
Left side.
No.
Hold your line. Clear on the left.
If you defend it as the slower car, then you're dour.
Yes, they're doing the dour.
It's a dour.
Oh, there he is, hit him. Our GTP team that's running up front. We've also got an LFP2 team that's currently running 6th. It's been a really tough stint for Grant here in the last half hour or so. He's had some contacts with some other cars on the track, had a couple of spins as the track and the tires and everything are changing.
Clear.
A
little bit of struggle, but we'll get it rounded up, and
nobody was impeded.
Both Grant, Chris, and Kane have done a great job in the car. So we've got good pace, and so it's just a matter of just tightening things up and kind of putting some things out of our head, and we'll move forward and see if we can get back up on the podium before the end of this race is
Fastest
over.
lap for Thompson. 3.
Ferrari P1 just hit the fastest lap. 25.804. Car ride.
Who's come in for a chat with us thus far in my time on this show. I want to ask you this as well. Definitely a bit of a different perspective since you are the team owner there of Olympus Esports, but still involved in this wonderful event nonetheless. What does it mean to you to be a part of this race for the
Got that corner and got a slow down penalty.
Well, it's real simple.
You'll need to give back the time gained. Gap to Andrew ahead.
Hey Josh, have you tried not doing that?
Yes. I'm just pushing the tyre. I'm just pushing the tyre to give it time gained. When I should give it until this lap to start going absolutely crazy. Because now it's feeling better.
Watching some more issues in the Ford chicane there. So we're, we've got drivers who are passionate about this, and we want to support our drivers. So when Nina came in and said, "Hey, do you want to put a team in?" I said, "Absolutely. We'll support you in 1 or 2."
No, it's not. Don't know what you're on about.
No, the car in front, maybe.
Coming up on a slower class car.
You can tell by the entries tab.
I mean, it's all about the team supporting the drivers.
That requires me to lean forward and grab the mouse. I don't feel like doing that.
How American of you.
Hell yeah, brother.
Car on your left.
Clear left.
Clear on the left.
We want to make sure that these drivers are able to participate in events that show off their passions, and we'll happily support them in doing that.
Putting the brake bias to 53.5 is a sweet spot for me, because I can just slam the brakes on it, it will stop, actually.
The gap to Andrew ahead is now 5.1 seconds.
Choose Delix to be like thee, Chuck Norris.
Slower car ahead. He's the class leader for these guys.
You pick a lane. Incredible.
It's crazy. It's almost like there's painted lines on the road, and you can determine which one to be in.
She's just a fantastic racer, so I will specifically call her out. She does a lot of open wheel stuff, and she's very, very good with kind of building stuff up to suit her nature.
The gap to Andrew ahead is now 5.5.
Obviously, it also works in the racing industry as well. So I want to give her proper thanks and proper shout outs for just really working hard to get up to the pace of these other drivers who drive this car week in and week out. Finally, just our sponsor, HSR Autos, our affiliates,
Stay right. Clear on the right.
Grip Engineering. We really appreciate all the work, all the partnerships, and the work they do for us. And we look forward to seeing some more of these drivers out here. Obviously, with my other side job that I do, I see a lot of these names week in, week out. So it's great to have a team involved with them, and we'll see if we continue on here and see how we do at the end of this race.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how your team will tackle the next couple hours whilst I'm on this show from the lead in the hypercar category. Charles, always good to have a chat with you, and looking forward to the next time I get to bleed your ear off in the not too distant future, man. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. See you tomorrow, Ron.
And that right there was Mr. Charles Bichelle. He has heard my voice way too many times with some other broadcasts. A fantastic guy, though, mind you. So nice to see his team out there. And talk about a team throwing their support behind someone. That's always
Andrew ahead is increasing. It's now 6.5.
Ferrari, she can handle the bumps quite well.
Jules Grandjean joining us in the other commentary.
Flyovers.
So pass it off to you.
Yeah, we'll pull down Jules here and see how Jules
the only
is
thing
doing
I've-
with the
and
race.
was top
Jules,
speed we've
good
got on the rest
evening,
of the
good
field.
afternoon. I'm presuming it's either evening or early morning for you. I know.
When Gerhard gets in, when he gets awake,
It's fine, I'm doing fine.
he's gonna fucking fly in these conditions.
Oh my god, yeah, he might run 25s.
Drive that car for like 7 months. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Talk to me about how that Spec 7 Racing Team Cadillac is getting along here in Hypercar. Currently sitting P10, but
coming up on a slower class car.
Fairly
Driver in front, not known
Oh,
for
he's
playing
turning
competitive.
back.
Nice, nice.
I'm a bit surprised that
Still has 109.
Hold your line. Clear
Clear on the
left.
Still
left.
109 people there.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
But too much wing.
She's gonna be like, what the fuck?
5 to 20 pH against the other car. I'm surprised you say that, honestly.
The gap to E3 ahead is
Left
increasing
side.
now.
Y'all haven't looked
Far
bad
left,
here
clear left.
Clear on the
through
left.
time, so even if you are down a little bit of pace, I mean, you're not doing bad, all things considered. So, what's
she's
the
like
end
so
goal for the
confused what's
team
happened.
with that little bit of a setup problem?
Top 10. We won't go the top 10. We are too slow for to catch the car ahead, and I don't know if behind us they're much faster or not. So we'll aim to win the top 10.
Well, Jules, your team's currently sitting top 10, so definitely in the goal where it stands.
Yes, I think we will not go much higher than P10 or P9, depending of.
The lead is pitting now.
It's pitting.
I popped in really quick just to say that I knew or be sure she was popular.
There's an incident in Dunlop Curve. Looks like
Hey,
it's
Jules, kind of
Damiani.
talk to me about racing here for a very important cause today. Talk to me about what that means for you and your team.
We are happy to be here. We are all supporting these people. So yeah, we are really happy to be here to drive with all these people.
The gap ahead is now 9.0 seconds.
And,
Awesome. Jules, it's great to have you here. Anyone that you want to thank or shout out on behalf of your team before we let you go back and hang out with your team?
Well, I think we want to say thank you to you guys.
30.804. Car on your left.
Keep it coming.
Clear.
Clear left.
And that
P4.
big event. Thanks to you all.
Awesome, Jules. And a big shout out to you. Thanks for stopping in to chat with us. We'll let you go hang back out with your team there, Spec 7 Racing, currently running P10. Goal is the top 10, and you all are well on the way for the goal, but 14 and a half hours left to go.
Thanks. Good night.
And that right there was Jules Grangeau joining us here in the commentary booth, and looking forward to this good night of racing action here, Brad, with 14 hours and 20 minutes left to go. There's been some incidents. This is involving Garnet Adams in the number 28 car. That's a spin coming out of the final corner, and there we go. Around he goes. That Ford chicane right towards the back half of the circuit. There is no
Coming up on a
elegant way
slower
of going
car.
through there, is it?
Not at all. And of course, that's the Challenger Chevy Camaro running through. And Garnett, she got that car through pretty well. All things considered, thankfully not
Car on.
On your right.
or thankfully
Clear right.
not
Clear.
running into another car as she was running that Camaro around. Nice to see the Challenger class getting through and out. May not be a Garage 56, but I do like a Chevy Camaro, so no harm, no foul there. Still plenty of battles going on.
The gap in front is now 9.6 seconds.
Empower 558 is chasing down that number 95 Arctic Sim Racing green right there on screen, separated by 0.2 of a second down the Mulsanne straight. And well, this is going to
Thompson,
be
car
an
number
interesting
21,
fight to
is
see
leading the race.
how it plays out.
Yeah, and this is going to be some fun if these drivers decide to break out into a side-by-side fight in the not-too-far-off future. Get to see the differences in all of these hypercars down the inside, in through the Indianapolis section they go. Let's see how it's going to work out as they approach the Porsche curves with some traffic in the throw as well. It looks like they're going to go either side of that GT3 machine. Look at that, running off the circuit is that BMW. The interesting line splitting the difference, going 3 wide. Not going to work out too well in all of that, but hey, it's a move done nonetheless. The 558 Cadillac getting that move done on the BMW.
Yeah, and getting that move done as quickly as possible. You know, I talked about it earlier in the broadcast, but this is the exception, not the rule, in the patience and endurance racing category.
Slower class car
so
ahead.
You have to get those passes done when the opportunity presents themselves as quickly as possible. And if you can get that pass done sooner rather than later,
Car on your left.
you might as well go ahead and do it, because that can prove all the difference in where you're at and what's happening for your team as we go through. But that does put that
ahead
number
is
558 up in
It's
8th
now
place.
10
A minute
seconds.
10 off
There's
the
an
Vortex
incident
Racing
in
Alpha,
Porsche
but
curves.
really, when you're in this nighttime stint, your goal is just one position at a time. You don't need to be thinking about, well, the race leader is 7 minutes up the road.
Clear on the right.
At that time, your goal is just, okay, I got past Arctic Sim Racing here, start to pull the gap, start to work the gap. BMW and Plower needs to start looking at, okay, Vortex Racing is a minute up the road.
Lars,
How
there's
do
a
I
car
make up
exit
a
in the
minute
pits,
in
heads
the
up.
next, few hours? What can I do to find one more position? And that's really
29.834.
You can't
That's
do
good
it
consistency.
in
Keep it
terms
up.
of,
That
oh
lap
no,
was
there's
at
14 hours left to go. It's got to be,
3:29.8
okay,
seconds.
how quickly can I get to the car ahead? Do I have the pace to go through? And we kind of heard that with Spec 7 Racing saying, you know, we're down on pace. We know our ultimate goal is P10. So their goal right now is just to continue that P10 position and hold on.
And it feels like the interviews don't stop coming to these drivers looking to have a chat with us, and the next person we'll be dragging in to the commentary booth is Seneth Anima. She's a part of the Dogbox Racing team, and we'll be able to drag her into the commentary booth here in a couple of moments.
I am inside your wall.
First off, thank you for joining us. Is it Zenith or Zenith?
Zenith Anima. Hi.
Zenith Anima, alrighty. Thank you for joining us, Zenith, and we'll pass the floor off to you. You want to have a chat with us about how things have gone thus far for the other Dogbox
Mills,
team out
car
there.
number 41, is now leading. You're coming up on some slower cars, including their class leader.
You probably know me better as Diesel. I am the team founder for Dogbox Racing, and I actually just got off of work. I've been trying to watch the race whenever I could.
Still there. Clear left.
Clear on the left.
That's fucking scary.
Keeping tabs on everybody, and I've been watching whenever I can. I've seen a few of the incidents. I've seen like a lot of the battles. I was here for a majority of the start of the race, especially with DJ battling, I think it was Mirai United or another LMP2 team. But yeah, I've been seeing what's been going on, and honestly, I'm really proud of my team. I'm a little sad that I couldn't race today, but I'm glad they're carrying the torch for me.
And still running out there as long as we are into this race, and it's been a pretty good race up to this point. Lots of battling going on into the night shift, though. These drivers looking to tackle this racetrack as best as they possibly can. It's tough, though, in conditions like this, just trying to keep your head screwed on properly. So how's the sort of pumping up of the drivers, just trying to keep them in the right frame of mind to stay on their A game?
Yeah, definitely. I just got home, so I'm definitely going to go and personally check in on them once I'm done here. But yeah, I have had a few people keep tabs for me,
car number
and they've
8
been
is now in the
keeping
lead.
each other going. It's been really nice knowing that they're driving so well together without me being there, because usually I feel like I'm the one that's kind of just keeping stuff together, but I'm really proud of the team for keeping it together while I was gone.
Well, I unfortunately have the other news to break that the 06 just had a moment coming out of the
Slower class
S's in
car
that
ahead.
small little stretch
The driver in
between
front's
turns
reputation
number
isn't great.
7 and 8. Slight tap of the barrier. I end up seeing them come down pit lane here in a couple of moments. So before I jinx you anymore and your team, it looks like trying to figure out if there's any damage on that race car with a little bit of weaving heading down that straight away. I want to ask you about your perspective with the team being a part of such a wonderful event like this.
honestly, it's really nice. Like, even though I'm not in the car myself this year, it's been really nice seeing everything come together, especially considering that I actually started my sim racing career with Prismatic, and then I got picked up by Makoni Setup Shop, and then I was actually allowed to create Dogbox, which actually started off. Dogbox started off as a I just randomly had one day, and I asked my boss, I was like, hey, what do you feel about a dog-themed racing team? And, you know, he sponsors and let us use his stuff. He's like, okay.
The gap to Andrew ahead is now 11 seconds.
Here we are, and I'm honestly really glad that I've made it as far as I did, but I don't think I would be here without Prismatic, so in a way, this is kind of feels like full circle to be in here. We actually raced last year. I don't think we got to, I don't think we finished last year.
You got a penalty for cutting the cord.
Porsche, GTP, and GT3. So to see them going longer than I could last year is just really nice. Like, I don't know, it's just nice to see something that I created, you know, be shown so much love on screen, and also
about the cornerbacks.
Like, it's just really nice. It's euphoric in a way.
And I gotta say, from my perspective as a commentator, always enjoy being a part of a wonderful event like this, and just awesome to see the camaraderie in the sim racing world coming together to raise some money for an absolutely wonderful cause. But Zenith, thank you for joining us here in the commentary booth and giving your insights about your perspective, being a part of that Dogbox racing team. And before we let you go and have a chat with your team, as you've just gotten back into your house, is there anybody you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I want to thank Prismatic Motorsports for basically jump-starting my sim racing career and also putting on one hell of a show. I would like to thank my teammates that are driving right now. I believe DJ's in the car right now, so shout-outs to DJ, shout-outs to Peppercoin, who's been doing race strategy, shout-outs to Paige, who has yet to be in the car, but will be, Zin, who is not a member of the dog team, but has a dog tag as a guest. And of course, my girlfriend Brew, who not only edited the livery, because I made the livery and she edited it while I was away for a month or two, and also has been carrying a lot of like the organization stints for me. So, hi babe, I love you, te amo cariño. And also, thank you all for donating and or cheering for us.
And still seeing that donation bar continue to rise, $4,240, not terribly far away from that 4,500 euro goal. I keep calling it dollars, it's euros that we're raising here at the present moment, but still, I mean, I've been calling Hypercar GTP, so maybe my American brain just a little bit wired to think in a certain way. But thank you so much for joining us here in the commentary booth, Zenith, and we'll let you go and be with your team.
Yep, thank you again, go Dogbox. Back.
That was right there was Zenith and Ema. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Zenith. I should have kept her in the commentary booth for a little bit. I think I got her off mid-bark there, but nevertheless, Brad, nice to see the team and just generally nice atmosphere. You know, we were kind of not necessarily poking fun, but noting the other Who Wants a Soda racing team. Just seeing the drivers obviously taking this event seriously, and teams realizing that they're here to race, but they're also just here to have a good time at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the camaraderie and just the friendship, again, and, you know, kind of seeing, you know, the team principals get involved as well. It shows you just how many people are truly involved in making this event happen for the teams. You know, it's not just a group of people that are just sort of hanging out to hang out. You've got drivers jumping in, you've got teams jumping in, you've got a lot more things, getting a lot more drivers and people getting involved for such an amazing cause. Of course, we're fundraising to benefit Belong to LGBTQ plus Youth Ireland, and, you know, seeing all of the that's not what you're going to want to see, though, if you're a Dogbox fan, is the rear axle locking up and that car snapping around in the chicane. Thankfully, did not hit a wall, no issues there. We get back going, but yeah, maybe not what you're going to want to see, but, you know, goes to show that the nighttime at Le Mans, it can come out and get you.
Yeah, in conditions like this, the track continuing to cool temperature-wise, you're going to find yourself having to perform a balancing act, and doubly so considering the damage that may be on that race car after that moment not terribly long ago, heading off through the opening series of corners some laps ago. I think I could actually see a little bit of tweaking to the back of that race car, maybe crapping ever so slightly. Looks like it's dancing for sure, heading down the straightaway off through into turn 16 right now. That straightaway on the exit of Mulsanne, the site of many interesting moments to be sure. I believe, I don't believe it was the main one that everyone sees clips of, but I think one of Mark Webber's
Coming up on a
aerial
slower class car.
acrobatics,
Down your left.
Mercedes
Clear
CLK,
left.
I guess at that point it was the CLK GTR back in the late 90s, having those aerial acrobatics for one of the runnings here of the Le Mans 24. I believe, strangely enough, some of that did happen on the Mulsanne straightaway, but I believe a decent chunk of that actually happened in the blast between
I
Mulsanne
see
and
a
Indianapolis.
341. Is everything okay?
For some reason in my
A
head.
bit of a
and
spin. Don't worry
I
about
can't tell
it.
you for sure either,
Okay,
but
I
it
didn't
does
see
sound
nothing.
right the way you've described it. So, I mean,
Yeah,
Lamar's
there's
such a good track.
either
I
gravel
keep
down
coming
at
back to that
SSG
Lamar
Tetra,
is
or I
such a
just
good
oversped
track for such
the
good
left
racing,
into the
'cause I
right
don't know
full
what
Tetra
else to really say
okay.
other than just this
Nearly
track
did it
is
again this lap. I
amazing.
was like, no,
Going
no,
through, it's a
don't do
great
that.
Stage too to have such a fun event.
Well,
and
I'm
fun
glad
race
you
here.
got it figured out,
Keep
my
my
friend.
eye on the GT3 category here as we go on, because I'm in disbelief at the moment. The
My
way the gap is
stomach
currently
isn't
shaping
doing
up.
super great, and I hope that doesn't mean I'm rocking up with whatever
from
Jeff has.
in Satellite Racing Solar.
It's definitely not good.
The Wiskins Racing Intoxicated by iTelemetry. It's currently piloted by George Tyler. And
If the car gets parked in the middle of a stint at some time, it's because I had to run and throw up.
2 laps, but they have, and it's
Hopefully that doesn't happen, but
I mean, the worst thing you used to have is the shits, the bad kind.
for sure. Well, one of the other problems is like my house only has one bathroom. So if me and Jess are both sick at the same time, talk luck. Guess I'm going outside.
How quick of a driver he is, and
I mean, I suppose the sink's a good alternative. You can at least wash that out.
It's a double-edged sword in a way,
Honestly,
because as much as it's good to have a gap like that,
I'd probably
it
just
can
walk
also
into
do
my
your head
backyard
in a little bit if you're
behind
like,
my
okay, I
garage.
got 2-lap gap, I can
Fair
take
enough.
it easy. That's usually when those
If
mistakes
it, if it came to that, because that is, it's like, the next time it rains, it'll get cleaned up. Oh look, it's a Drew. Wouldn't it be okay if we whipped Drew a 499 straight into the back of his Mustang?
The rhythm that you know, because when drivers have to come off of that rhythm, or they decide to come off that rhythm even a little bit, that's where those mistakes creep in. That's where you see drivers make
Clear left.
Clear. Obvious pass over going, yes, I'm over here, please.
Gone, and you are, in fact,
I respect your existence because I like your. I don't want to be enemies of the DHR state.
No.
Car.
They're all lovely
piloted
people.
by Pedro Marquez here, and 19 seconds away from Beta Frost, but has been gaining a little bit, I believe, from what we've seen. I could be wrong with that, but I feel like Pedro's been trying to gain a little bit and trying to find time here. A little bit of traffic fight through here at the moment, and now just continuing to run this LMP2 through. I always say it, but I think LMP2 is my favorite class. It's the class I typically race, and it tends to be, I find, the most forgiving and most fun at the same time.
And you know, from my perspective,
that
Brad,
lap was a
I'm a
3:29.4,
guy who
and that was
usually just
with
enjoys
7.42
driving in
laps
cars
of
that feel so
liters
cartoonishly quick
of fuel
around the
used.
circuit.
It's
I
not bad.
absolutely adore the Mercedes Formula
not at all.
1 car. You can put that car on just about any track. Could be on a Cadwell Woodlands, the figure eight configuration.
Imagine
at
how
Slinger
fast
Speedway.
you're going to be when
I
you
will
get that
always
R9.
enjoy running incredibly fast around a racetrack, so I usually tend to gravitate towards the quickest cars.
It's
But
crazy.
I'm with
Sim
you.
Magic just
I got an LMP2 when I was
released
introduced into
a,
iRacing
an
platform.
R9
And one of the
competitor.
most enjoyable yet also rather frustrating experiences
The
was
new
running that LMP2 car around the
Alpha
Nordschleife,
Mini
trying to get the best
Evo
time.
is 9 Newton meters and is 399. So literally the same torque and the same price. So
Yes, that's the same price I paid for the R9 V3.
yeah. So it's obvious that they're trying to make it a direct competitor.
It was such a
Because
rewarding experience when I
they
would
switched
get
from
90%
10,
of the
15,
lap
and
down.
20 to
As you can
9,
see, that's a
12,
big
and
sideways moment.
18.
Holy cow, that 100 car with a big moment. That's turn 1, nearly losing and coming out of turn
It's good that at
number
least
7.
companies are trying to make
affordable
and high power-ish enough
Slower class car ahead.
direct drives now.
Yeah, it is nice. And the biggest difference, so Mike's and Magic Base doesn't have Sim Hub capabilities, but the new one does. So that's like the big difference.
I believe it'd be the P217, I think is the name of the car on iRacing. Just an
At least I have something that if my mini goes, I can replace it.
LMP2 racing in real life being like, oh, it's a spec class, it's a spec class. It doesn't matter if it's a spec class or otherwise, it's still
Right side, the leader is coming up on you. They're not at 5. Clear on the right.
Racing in real life, it's great racing in iRacing.
Oh, I see. There's a Gerhard afloat. I just saw him click onto the crew chief banner.
Adds a lot and is extremely
he is
challenging.
awake.
As you can see, it's easy to drive, it's hard
He's
to
probably
master.
checking to make sure that
Clear on time.
Oh, there he is.
30.85.
And once I wake up, I saw that fast repairs there, so I can't help to pick it
You
off.
can have some pretty scary moments here. You have the number 8 hypercar.
Yeah, we had
the
to use
Cadillac
one, but
down 4th place
Yeah, I got
in
it.
class,
You know,
and that is
fun
gonna
thing
be
is like
Frost coming through.
when I
Let's see where they
wake
come
up
out
for
in
Lou,
relation to BMW
I sort of checked out some lap time, and I saw that fucking shit happen. Holy shit!
That's gonna close that gap down to about 10 seconds.
yeah, there was we had a really weird track state for a little bit. Where both like Lars drove and then I drove, and we could only barely clip into the 29s.
Still there.
Still there.
And it was just,
Hold your line.
it was really
Still
just
there.
a weird
Hold your
track.
line.
For all of
Hold your
It
line.
was so but dirty.
Stay on the right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Clear left.
Clear.
Entfernverfärbung und Schutz vor 9.
Glorious Ferrari storyline speed.
It will be a menace when I
Eine
walk.
einfache Suche kannst du
Ja.
die ganze Welt entdecken.
We do it.
Wenn ihr eine
Slower class car ahead.
Das und
But yeah, the track is giga, so be prepared to run your fucking 26s and 25s, Gerhard.
Relay P2.
Gotcha.
3.2
Yeah,
seconds.
the track state earlier was awful.
Yeah, it was cold and dirty, and we just put the car just understeered everywhere.
Can be notoriously unforgiving. I've seen that already in our time on this broadcast thus far, Brad.
But it's
And
much
none of the
faster now.
classes are really immune from that. Even those drivers running
So,
the supercars.
seems like
it is. The curbs are dangerous. I don't care who you are. The curbs
God.
are extremely dangerous. It's P12, LMP2, the number 66.
Josh is on his
Ronald
second
Mansfield is now
of the
into
double.
the pits here.
Yep.
So,
George is
no
getting in
pit
a
stop
second.
parties to be had here where
Yep.
the entire field dives
So I
into
stick
pit
on
lane
1.5
at the same
hours.
time and then dives out.
Yeah,
and
you
goes.
still got
Of
plenty of
course,
time.
We have that wet race start that really mixes
Because
things up, and we are
my
possibly
sister
gonna get some
is
rain later
going back
in
to
the
Japan.
race.
They said
We'll
they
see
saw on a
how
call
that
taxi
goes. You
for
didn't hear that
later.
officially from me, but it
I didn't know you had a
is
sister.
possibility is what I'll say.
Yeah,
So we'll
older
see
sister.
how that shapes things up
2
here
years
as
above.
there is a driver change for the number 66 LMP2 running down in 12th place, and that is the Oceanic Outlaws powered by VOC. In and out, done.
I keep getting the
down,
memories
finish
popping up
Ruby!
on my phone.
Oh shit, there's a GTP behind me.
We were in Japan this time last year.
Oh yeah.
35, 36, 37 seconds.
Now, that's right, you said you couldn't do this because you're in Japan.
Your relay
Yep.
Nikolai. The gap is
Yeah.
now 6.6 seconds.
Overall, holding Redmond Racing, and this is going to be a rather good battle between these drivers. I thought we were about to have
Ooh, it's a
that
cluster.
like milk, but no,
Ooh,
Redmond
it's a
Racing in
cluster.
that 500 car, not coming down in pit lane. This is for 9th in that GT3 class.
Motion and grip of
Yeah,
slow
stay
cars.
behind.
The 500 being tailed by the number 900, currently running in P9
Right
and
side.
P10 respectively. Redmond Racing
Clear right.
Clear on the right.
Trying to chase down the Mercedes 2 cars, which
Right side.
usually the ones that are most
Hold your line.
synonymous when it comes
Keep to the
the
left. Clear on the right.
So have we now officially entered the mid-smoking part of the Lima coverage?
Car on your left.
Clear left.
Clear 32.39.
Lap goes up 3,
Remember, kids,
32.4 seconds.
if your mom says you can't have any cake, do the alternative.
If you guys give me the R18 for next year, I will find 10 drivers to fill that car.
If we get another front bumper shot there from the number 10 900 Owned Racing car,
Left side.
Clear.
Clear.
But if we get another front bumper shot there,
it ain't 2:30 in the morning just yet.
Is on that front bumper, and it is absolutely hilarious because this car I would think would be so compliant, so fun to drive, and so easy to handle. The AMG would be a great power car to have
of
here
all
down
time.
the Mulsanne straight, but
Dude, that's fuel.
Right side.
acknowledging that
Hold your line.
AMG
Clear right.
Clear on the right.
favorite through corners here, side by side.
Since some time. It is 25 to midnight.
And it is going to be that number 900 Owned Racing that is
The gap
going
ahead
to
is now
rip
8.7
the
seconds.
cones and, well, rip P9 as Redmond Racing now has the challenge of fighting back. The pass done through the first chicane.
You drive the
and as you
R18,
go down
but for 1 hour you have to switch to the Jetta. Would you still win the race? Probably.
They will be able to hold on to the position.
We're continuing to see this race develop, and this battle maybe flare up yet again. You can see some hypercar traffic going to be catching up these drivers, maybe getting them dealt with in that flat-out blast down the final bit of the Mulsanne straightaway, breaking up with those two chicanes. I feel like it's going to be a matter of time before I pull up racingcircuits.info and start talking about
Yeah, the conditions are like the Giga practice session they put up. The quick times and so fuel.
Nikolai, ahead is now
As you can see, the 42 and the hypercars running very close. That side-by-side racing, heading down at the end of that straightaway
coming
into
up on a slower class car.
Oh, P1, P2 GTE charity race would be great.
Rip the cones, still running in P9, and rip the outside line heading through Mulsanne. That was a
P1 GT GT1.
Saying I called it, but just saying I called
Yeah.
that one entirely. Getting
I
that
would,
pass
if
done
it was
down the Mulsanne
GTE,
straight
I
early
would
on
drive the
does not
Corvette.
secure the position. Unfortunately, if you have the position in the Porsche curve,
If we had P1, back to the Audi R18.
I don't think my brain can work fast enough for the R18.
No, you need to be
the Ford chicanes, which drivers do on occasion.
because
they are
you'd have to have all the stimulants on the planet for that.
Yeah, I've never driven the R18, so.
It's a young man's game, that car.
Yeah, and I'm an old man.
Going through Indianapolis and try to open up that
Still there.
gap.
Clear.
And as we continue to develop this race, well, we'll raise two things. First off, we've had
I only point it out every month.
On this broadcast, we'd like to welcome our pal Ramiro.
I am the moon.
Now working on the cameras and the graphics in the production truck.
Gru
Hoping
stole
that
the
our
moon.
other colleague, Mr. Hugo Luis Calmon, gets some
So-
rest because he has been on this show ever since
Okay,
dropping
seems
the
like
green flag.
Jimmy has done his duty and going off already.
He didn't eat me. Yeah, he raided Chloe.
Seriously?
Yeah. She had like
iRacing exists in a parallel universe where the moon does not exist.
Last time I checked, she was still
Exactly,
over
the Earth
102.
is flat and the moon is a duck.
29.756.
Most popular M-Flower stream.
Piccolo blew up the moon.
Second off the pace in sector 3.
It's 88 now.
Slower class car ahead.
So I can technically say either good evening or good morning. It doesn't matter which way I say it. So Oliver, how is Lamar treating the Beta Frost number 88?
Gold was lost. Go to sleep already.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
The beginning was.
He said he wanted to go so he can get up earlier for the 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh my god, it's so early karaoke session.
Not being as expected.
You really want that, huh?
He really wants the karaoke.
To change the tires.
Alright, I'm gonna go in.
I'm not one to judge.
I'm gonna go and do the morning routine.
Other than that, we
Yeah, I'll
have
stick
I'll buy
around
Red
there,
Bull before that happens.
ready.
for the 88 car. And we also
My
have,
dump wrapper is blowing away because I live in a wind tunnel because it's 1,000 degrees.
I'm kind of hoping that when they release new renderer, they just show up the moon a lot.
The gap in front is now 8.8 seconds.
The moon shall be ray traced.
Okay, so talk to me about
We'll have a power after this though. I have a sudden case of swamp ass.
Rubber. It is 84.6 freedom units in my room right now.
Mostly,
I'm dying.
In our team, we have around 25 drivers.
You sure you haven't
in iRacing.
gone Florida by
Not
accident?
everyone is interested in
And the
endurance
problem is
racing,
I'm
and not
fat,
everyone
so.
got time now during Easter
You
time.
are. Oh Lord,
so
he's
we
coming.
have 3 teams, and
Hell
not
yeah,
everyone
brother.
is interested in driving the G3 car.
Can't wait to scare the shit out of all the other dads at the daycare.
First we had 2 entries.
So they just look up and just go, what the hell?
We had to retire.
That is
take
a
out
large
one of the
man.
cars, due to the one having some family things he had to sort out. So one of the drivers.
It's like when
is in
Taco
the
Josh and I
car.
met.
So they are
I
4
felt
there.
huge standing next to him. I felt bad.
That fuck's comically hilarious. It's like Josh is comically snorting, I'm just comically tall. It's like what?
So it's kind of a co-owner car, and we just.
It was like when I met Dank once too, and he walks up to my house and I come out the front door, and he goes, "Holy shit, you really are huge." I said, "Why would I lie about that?"
We do it for fun, and all the drivers try to compete for something.
All of your team is doing pretty good, regardless of which category we're in.
Yeah, it reminds me of that picture of like Joe Biden and Jimmy Carter's. They're comically large and they're comically small. It's like, what on earth?
What in the hell?
How important is it, having 3 cars in this event, and what this event stands for? How important was it for you all as a team to have an entry in every category and show our support?
Hold your line.
Clear on the right. For the reason for having cars in all categories, that's just based on drivers.
Clear right.
Clear on the right. For us,
Nikolai,
it doesn't matter if
ahead
we
is
have
increasing. It's now
2 cars in GTP, for example, and not a car in LP2. That's just up to the drivers. But
on your left.
3
Clear on the left.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Box in 420 meters.
What you said? What you run your brake bias at? You said default, yeah.
55.
Yeah. 55 now. There we go.
Thank you.
PC's default as well.
Box in 5.
Awesome, Oliver. And it's
99.
3, 2,
Yeah, that's why I did that. It was at 87, but I put it back to 99.
Back to supporting your teammate there, going through just the 2-driver entry for 24 hours.
I am in.
That's
oh
great
yeah.
for you all, but it's exciting. Anyone on behalf of the team you want to shout out?
I would like to give a special shout out to Nico on the GTP.
When I leave the
He's
pits,
driving
make sure
his,
my
race for Beta Frost.
best repairs off
His race before moving on to another team. So special thanks to him and to all the other drivers for taking part in this.
Awesome, Oliver, and a big thank you for taking some time out of your race to come chat with us.
Andrew,
Good
car
luck
number
for
11
the
is
remaining
now
13
leading.
hours and 51 minutes, and hopefully we'll be chatting with you again later.
Yeah, possibly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That car is the left down.
Stay behind the white line.
Chatting with some of these drivers midway through the race, and I think, unless I'm
Fast
very much
repairs off.
mistaken, as we see a battle maybe
Respect those tires.
Okay, Lars. The next car is Andrew. Car number 11, and their rating is 4.3.
Camera of all of the cameras to end all cameras here on this broadcast. I wonder if we could potentially cue that up here in a few moments' time. Maybe the best, maybe the cutest, maybe the funniest. We'll just have to wait and see and get that camera up here in a couple of moments' time, because oh boy, I see Ramiro talking about in the small little broadcast sex chat that we've got here. It's a fun one. And there we go. Yeah, the stinky can with Georgie McKay. Oh, that dog is off into. This is going to be a view. Actually, I was going to say this is going to be a view.
Isabel, you're better than that.
In about 6 hours' time was my time on this broadcast. Is that I feel like that's rubbing salt in the wounds a little bit, Brad, considering you're going to be staying for about 2 hours after I have.
Listen, I love the late night, and you can see Stinky's little ear twitching. I think there's some dreams about some, well, hopefully Stinky can't hear us, but there's some dreams about some treats, some toys, some walks, some car rides. Let me just go ahead and...
Next time on Thunderfolk. All right,
The car ahead is 5 laps behind. Coming up on a slower class car.
There it is.
Car on your left.
Clear left.
Clear on the left.
We literally wake up in the morning and I have a play seat that folds in half, and on the top will sit our older cat, and then our younger cat, who's just about 1.5 years, almost 2 years old, sits inside the play seat. So they kind of have their hierarchy, and
Oh
they
yeah,
have
it
decided
feels
that
so
is
much better out
bed,
now.
and that is where they sleep, that's where they chill out, and it lets them look out a window, and they actually
You're out of touch. I'm out of time, but I'm out of my head when you're not around.
Indianapolis.
You're out of
that I've been here on
I'm out of time.
My mother was always allergic to cats and dogs, and then once I got into my own personal racing adventures, we never really had the opportunity to care for a cat or a dog.
Ruby, let me flash at you again.
Slower car ahead. This guy's the class leader.
Back when I was about 6 years old, and that was just keeping tabs on it for my mother's
Car right. Clear right.
Clear on the right.
So never really had a pet like that, but here in my circle, living in the cul-de-sac that I do, and not to dox myself any further, so I will refrain from making any further comment about my location. We have this stray cat who's been around the neighborhood for many moons, and all of us in the house have all agreed that the cat's name is Bootsy, but for the earliest time, I always want to call that stray cat Bojangles. Now, I want to pass this by you, Brad. Which do you think is a better name? Okay, it's an orange and white cat. I'm not sure what the correct technical term would be to describe the cat, but that's roughly how the cat looked. And I feel like Bojangles is always a good name. I've never been to a Bojangles in real life. I don't think there's
an incident in Dunlop chicane.
Where I live. I always felt like Bojangles was a good name.
First off,
there's an incident in the Essex.
As we have 2 on-screen battles here, 7th in GP3, and 6th
Slower class
LMP2
car ahead.
They continue through. That LMP2 battle is just still not done, and I think actually
You got a slow car on the right. You got a slow car on the right.
Look at this as they go through down the Mulsanne straight. I'm going to say Bojangles is the better name, hands down. Second off, you need to eat some Bojangles. Bojangles is delicious. I would argue that Bojangles is one of the top
right
that does
Clear right.
exist.
Clear on the right.
Out of 10, I must say. And third off, have you heard of the cat distribution system?
Banfield is getting closer. The gap's now 9.1.
Family member allergic. You've heard of the cat distribution system, right? And YouTube chat, you're going to back me up on
The gap to P1 behind is now 4.7 seconds. 2 laps in front. Thompson, car number 21, is leading the race.
Where you
Go
going?
right. Car on your left.
Clear left.
Clear.
System, and pretty good example involving the exact as we see a GP4 car overshooting one of the chicanes on that Mulsanne straight. So easy to not lock a wheel with those cars with ABS, but very easy to overshoot your braking, unfortunately, for the Redmond racing car of Karl-Johan Nordl. That's exactly what happened a few moments ago. I have seen the cat distribution system work in real time in reference to Bootsy, as we will refer to her, basically to make sure my dad's like, oh, we're
I got a fast approaching Taylor Mills coming up.
My best friend Kate, who I live with, has always been around cats. During her life, she's always had pet cats. Doesn't at the moment here in the house, but
You're
every
approaching a
single
group
time,
of slower class
Bootsy
cars.
is kind of synonymous for not being the most friendly cat in the world. There's always been a little worry of her biting people and all that jazz, or like scratching at them. Every single time that
Car on your left.
my
Clear.
friend
Clear.
Kate and Bootsy the cat have interacted, it's basically been like a
Car on your left.
beautiful like
Hold your line.
video.
Keep to the right.
Clear left.
Clear on the left. Left side.
Clear left.
Clear.
I
Almost got ass packed.
Make pretend that I'm having some sort of like moment of some kind so we can get into the house. Otherwise, chances are this cat is probably going to be ending up in the house in due course.
The P2 behind.
I think I have now officially seen the cat distribution system in real life. And I have to say
I
that
braked
very
for
different.
Indy 1 and they almost ran into the back of me.
In chat saying
The car in front pitting.
Oh, good. It's the one that doesn't have much. It's the team that doesn't have experience, really.
Getting back into racing here before I make myself want to go to my local animal shelter and adopt another cat.
Gap to P1 behind is now 1.5 seconds. 2 laps ahead. Blue flag.
I love the setup here. I recognize a Logitech G29 when I see one. Or that might be a G923. I don't know. Either way, it's camped to a desk. And it goes to show you don't have to have, you know, a super advanced
let's see what Taylor does.
sim rig, $20,000 setup to get into sim
No, I'm just gonna let her go.
Curve. It looks like Andrew.
I'm not fighting that shit.
Fuck that, boys.
Yeah.
Car on your left, 33.595. Clear on the left.
Well done, Lars. This is great. Come on, keep
It's
banging
called
those
self-preservation.
P3,
The car behind
behind
is
is
pitting.
pitting.
Just some pace laps or just kind of get a feel for something. I will run an Xbox controller, but you don't have to have the fanciest, most
Left side.
setups with
Clear left.
you know,
Clear on the left.
seats and the motion rigs and everything to get in and go through. Madeline McDonald here with Broken Eggs Cooking, showing that hey, just clamp the wheel to the desk and you are okay.
Now, I gotta say, on the subject of wheels and all this stuff, and may hear a little bit of shuffling around here as I switch my position of my microphone. My sim rig is actually, I've still got the same Logitech
ahead is now
15
seconds.
2018.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that got picked up on the microphone too much. You can hear the shifting of the wheel. It has done me very, very well. That mounted to the same sim rig that has been on one that I think might
slower car ahead. That's their class leader.
Like that. The metal's cracked. It's a blue seat that's starting to fall apart. But it has been my go-to sim rig for many, many moons through from back when I was in middle school all the way through to now, where I'm yapping people's ears off on the internet.
Go on the left. Clear.
It's done me very, very well. There are definitely some signs of the wear. The throttle pedal, for instance.
The boys having fun leading.
Flat out.
Hope they keep it up.
It will not register that I am going flat out. It will basically just
Car
the pedal. Here's an interesting development. The leader in that Olympus Esports car, the number 21, currently being driven by Patrick Thompson. They have to come in and serve a black flag. This is a rather big development at the front of Hypercar.
How many times can I say it? A minute 30 isn't enough because anything can change your race. Olympus Esports Atlas, number 21, Patrick Thompson, going to be kicking themselves here because what's about to happen? Well, that is going to prove so problematic for them. Serve that black flag come through, and well, all of a sudden, if you're Taylor Mills, we talked to Taylor Mills earlier during my first stint in the booth,
15
and
seconds.
Taylor Mills was very clear about, hey, we're banking on consistency.
Slower class car
to
ahead.
get us into the position we want to be in, which is to win and go through. She was very clear what her team's goal was, and it's victory. And well, I hate to say it right now, but yeah, she's.
I meant to say it on my way by, but I was in the wrong chapter. Hi, Willow.
Arnage.
Looks
like it's
clear. And that number 42 team will be able to mount a challenge to that team. Let's just wait and see. Still a lot of time left to go. 13 hours, 41 minutes, and 55 seconds now. So a lot of time left to go in this race. Can't rule anything. Now, we'll note the other Taylor Mills racing number 42 car coming down pit lane up 12 spots in LMP2. That is a rather valiant challenge from them. In a race like this, you will see these teams just cut their way through the field like a hot knife through butter. A lot of time to do that, and nonetheless, it is still a rather impressive feat as we're seeing the brilliant visuals of Le Mans at night following your leader in the LMP2.
Oscar's back.
Turn sim racing number 23 entry.
That car is a lap down.
Heading down that flat-out blast between Mulsanne and Indianapolis. Just
the leader, Mills, is
pitting in the darkness.
I just love this track at night. The headlights, the
32.738.
You've just done a 32.7.
Headlights, and that is all you get. It's so fun, really, to watch just how this track comes alive at night. It produces such good racing.
Yeah.
Looking
What
at
is the PlayStation chicane?
Slower class car
Please.
Satellite Racing Solar started in the lead, is still in the lead. But of course, the Wiskins Racing, intoxicated by telemetry, up 4 places. But
Car on your left. That car is a lap down. Clear.
Breakfast pudding division. heart goes out to that number 86.
Andrew,
That was annoying.
11 is now in the lead.
places on the day. It just hasn't been their race as they continue to go. Prismatic Motorsports, EK up 7 places on the day. And I'm saying that right. I know we got yelled at earlier about how we pronounced that. So if I said that wrong, someone can absolutely yell at me.
The gap to P1 ahead is now 18 seconds.
If I had a dollar for every single time I've been yelled at for an absolutely butchered name pronunciation, I'm pretty sure I'd be making more money off of that than I would be from the actual broadcasting gigs. So maybe that's just me not knowing how to pronounce things. Actually, on the subject of name pronunciations, this has been something that's always written in the back of my head in reference to my own broadcasting stuff. My last name, not a lot of people can get the name pronunciation down right. Credit where credit is due to our colleague here at RaceSpot TV, Connery Maddock, who let us into the booth about an hour and a half ago at this point. Well done on the pronunciation of my last name, Mons. Not really one that people can get nailed down. On my high school graduation, they said my last name was Mans, and in the process of that, walking across the stage in this big center, the Giant Center, if anyone's ever heard of that in Hershey, Pennsylvania, crossing the stage at my high school graduation to what felt like
clear on the right.
I'm not even sure if my father in the stands was applauding when I graduated high school.
Gap to P1 ahead is increasing.
I had a
It's
couple
now
of years ago, which is
18
still
seconds.
running in the back of my head to this day. I don't know, maybe my brain's just a little bit sour in the regard that I will never forget the odd experience of being called Ron Mans and then having like
slower class car ahead,
a security guard at the stadium give me a sympathy clap. This is a rather depressing story. I don't know why it got. It's a funny story as far as I'm concerned.
You okay?
What happened?
So I can't type to save my life because brain fried.
Oh.
There's another good one from my high school graduation. If you'd like to hear it.
Oh boy, bring it on! I love good stories.
So first off, this high school graduation that I was a part of happened in Hershey, Pennsylvania, as I alluded to a couple of months ago. I live in the city of Philadelphia, so that was about like a 2.5-hour drive as is in the early days of June, and it was
right side.
hot on
Still
that
there.
day. I remember
Clear right.
Clear. Was, I think in the 90s or something like that. I could not go there in my capping gown. I could not sit in a black. Dad decided, hey, you know what? We're going on a road trip. He was planning to meet up with a gentleman who was planning on
32.411. This is great.
It's a very nice looking car. I'm sure he'll probably send me a text message with all the stats. They feel like some sort of advertising thing here on the broadcast. I'm not entirely sure it would be something that goes over well, but nonetheless, this 2.5-hour drive in a Firebird, boiling hot on that day in a Jostin's cap and gown. Now, Jostin's the same people who make the winners rings for the Indy 500. Find people there outside of them kind of spamming my my email inbox after my high school graduation and me purchasing the cap and gown. Right towards the end of the ceremony, I was bending down in my chair to try and pick up the pamphlets and stuff like the program and stuff that they were giving us for the graduation ceremony. And in the process of that, about half the scenes on the bottom half of the cap and gown blew out on me. I did get the measurements down correct. I was actually leaning a bit more towards the conservative side in terms of being a bit bigger rather than being too small, having something like that happen. But it still happened, and in the process of walking out of the center back into the grandstand so we could meet up with our family and all that stuff, I had to walk basically holding the bottom half of the gown around, just being like, nothing's going on here. And to cap off the embarrassment of that moment,
coming up on a slower class car.
Decision that I think will go down in infamy in my family. Me deciding to go to my high school graduation ceremony wearing a pair of Kellogg's Cornflake socks. They were purchased at a random gas station on Interstate 80 here in Pennsylvania, and purchased them a couple of years prior, had never worn them, and have not worn them since. So you can clearly tell that my thought process is bizarre, to say the very least.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything because I probably would do the same thing. So I think that is iconic. I mean, I wore flamingo socks
Car on your
at
left.
my wedding. So I
Clear left. Clear.
And yes, they made an appearance in photos. I made very sure that the flamingo socks were known that I was wearing and going through. So yeah, the sock choice, I have nothing against.
The lead is pitting now.
That ripped away.
Right side. The lead is pitting now.
Clear right.
Clear on the right.
I think, I mean, I'm not an expert when it comes to scenes and all that stuff. I think the main reason why it happened is, as the best way I can put this, I am a large fat man, so I think that's probably the reason why the scenes blew out in the way that they did. I guess it wasn't too big of a fit for that gown. The number 21 from the lead in Hypercar has now come down pit lane. The headlights coming off. I think there's a driver swap. There it is. Nina Hahn now behind the wheel of that number 21 effort, having a chat with the co-owner of Olympus Esports, Mr. Charles Michel, earlier on, praising Nina Hahn and her role
Slow car
in the
ahead.
team.
This guy's their class leader.
They say you cut the cord. You'll have to slow down and give up the time gain. Right side. Clear on the right.
Slow down, give back some time.
They will be serving that black flag that we saw that they were given about 5 minutes ago.
It is now just gone half 11 here. I'm going to have one of my white chocolate cookies.
Oh yeah.
31.715.
Okay, Lars, there'll be chances here. Let's make sure we can take them. P3.
In relation after these pit stop cycle through. Battle for P11 in LMP2 Oceanic Outlaws, powered by VOC and Team Sakura Engineering. 1.82 seconds currently the gap between them as they go, opening up just a little bit, but it is going to start closing as traffic starts to again come into play. That traffic giveth, traffic taketh away, forever being ever and constantly true in motorsport. How many times can I say ever?
If I could get a lap without traffic, that would be great.
I'll say it a lot. As we watch the drivers go
or at least traffic in better spots.
And the GTP Cadillac, they're getting past the Hypercar Cadillac. If I had a nickel for every time I call it a GTP and not a Hypercar, I'd have about 70 nickels. And I'd probably have a bit more money than I have right now.
Yeah, honestly, I felt that, Brad. If I had a dollar for every single time I have called it GTP instead of Hypercar, I would have more money than I have at the moment, and I barely make enough money to afford Greek yogurt. So that's going to be making my way up in the world in that regard. But I will say, you know what usually catches me out bad? I did a broadcast one time where instead of being called GTP or Hypercar, they were called LMDH.
My God, the brain rot for the others, and the other car has got to 110%.
Full Sam. Looks like it's Andrew.
If I say GTP, I do apologize because, yeah, it is indeed Hypercar here. We are running the WEC style class, so it is Hypercar, not GTP. GTP is
coming up on a slower class car.
Even though some of the cars are back and forth interchangeable in their setups and very similar in layout and design, and I'm not a billion% sure what the difference is between them. But yes, they are Hypercars if we're talking about international. If you're talking about IMSA, that is where they're called GTP, Grand Touring Prototypes. So, but no, they're Hypercars here, and I will
hold your line.
Not
clear right.
Clear on the right.
So, but just know that I know they're Hypercars. So if you hear me say GTP, I will correct myself and just know that I know.
Yeah, GTP, Hypercar, regardless of what they are, race cars with some nice flashing headlights and some very powerful engines. Good to see them out there on
Clear.
the racetrack.
Andrew,
I gotta
in
say,
front is
one of
now
the best
20
things that iRacing
seconds.
has done as of recent is implementing the electric bump starts for those. Maybe it's just me considering I have the Cadillac, but hearing that internal combustion engine fire up off the electric motors coming out of the pit is always one of the most wonderful sounds you could ever hear.
Coming up on a slower car.
Guy
in front of me.
Here's
Incident
Ivory.
Be careful here.
They've come down pit lane.
Car right.
26.
Clear right.
Porsche
Clear.
Find themselves in 12th at the present moment in that hypercar category, and a couple laps down from our leader of the
another good lap ruined.
This team. They've come out with a race lead and all of that action, so not getting hurt too much by that black flag. So I guess well done to them, being able to shake off that small little scare. But in all of that, you raised a
Nothing
very
like
good point, Brad,
seeing
talking about
8/10
how
up
a
get
big
washed
cushion,
away by
as
cars
good
on
as
the
it is
Forza
to
curve.
have, it can disappear with
Here's Pearl Drink to that.
That it can, when that cushion does disappear, it's the most uncomfortable moment ever.
Your lap times are improving, this is good.
Because you think you're in the good, you think you're comfortable, you think you're having a great time, and then all of a sudden that, couple minute gap that you had, or if you're in LMP2, the 3:17 gap, or if you're in GT3, the 1+ lap gap that you had just absolutely disappears, and it just ruins any confidence that you have. You can see there on the Rolex timing board, 13 hours, 25:46 is what that says.
Car on your left.
Clear left.
Clear on the left.
Half hours exactly, so we're still not half race distance yet. Both lead 6:57 currently into the pits here in LMP2. Who's going to come out faster? Well, that is the $1 billion question. And, well, it's whoever comes out win, it's going to be fist out flying in this LMP2 category for P6.
That LMP2 class, as we raised earlier on, Brad, talking about our shared love of that LMP2 car, it is absolutely fantastic. That machine running around this racetrack, running around all racetracks for that matter, and in fact, kind of expanding on my enjoyment of these LMP2s. One of my favorite experiences on the iRacing platform has to be running the LMP2 in the rain. It has to be starting off in the dry and then just having it bucketed down with rain in a race at Road Atlanta. One of my favorite experiences on the iRacing platform as we see these drivers come out of the pits. I do want to raise this. We have hit the €4,500 goal here for the 2025 Race for a Cause 24-hour-long race, raising money to belong to the LGBTQ+ youth charity based out of Ireland, raising money for a very good cause. And we would like to thank everyone who has donated thus far. The top donation from Skylar Ward, £260, as here into the pits is a 211 serving a black flag in that LMP2 category. So that's not going to be the ideal moment for them, but very nice to see that the goals continue to get hit, and that ticker continuing to tick up.
It took me a moment to realize.
I love seeing those goals continue to go forward, and again, we're not even halfway through this race, and we've already been obliterating goals that we had set early on. The sky's the limit here, so just thank you to everyone who's been donating throughout this broadcast, continuing to help us fundraise and bring in money for Belong to LGBTQ+ Youth Ireland, an amazing cause here in Race for a Cause 24 here in 2025. I'm gonna point this out as it has been pointed out to me. The hypercars, the IMSA Hypercar GTP is also an LMDH. It's the same regulations, but the Ferrari hypercar is an LMH, but not a GTP.
The car in front is pitting.
All of the
Andrew,
other
ahead is
hypercars on
pitting.
iRacing are LMDH cars, so they're all GTP.
Car
Right
right.
side. Clear right.
Clear.
Kind of technically I'm right, is all I'm hearing from that. And
We're going to do it on technicality.
I'll take the I'm technically correct.
And as we are here,
The car in front is pitting.
here's a nice little fun fact. Getting this from
30.504.
the source themselves. Bailey Thompson is the youngest driver in the field. Just reported that to us. 16 years old is that driver. Holy cow! I mean, I gotta say, back when I was 16, I wasn't doing much productive. I certainly wasn't racing in a 24-hour-long iRacing charity event, as we see Daisy Marie and the number 16 car having a spin coming through the Porsche curves, and that is not an ideal moment in that number 16 GT3 Porsche. They find themselves a little bit farther back from the lead in GT3.
I saw Brendan spot somewhere on broadcast.
In the 253 car, and that was a sideways snap and through the
eBay hat Fahrzeugteile, die einfach genau passen.
Okay.
Zu dir, zu deinem Auto.
Whoa!
Oh, hello!
Never had that happen before. Uh-oh.
You've got wheel damage. Looks like one of your wheels is out of alignment. You'll have less grip out there.
Oh yeah.
Slow down. You got a penalty for cutting the course. Your car has too much damage. We've got to fix it. That car is a lap down.
To not have that happen in the worst place and not have traffic coming through. This is Chris Stephenson, the 121.
Mills, car number 41 is now in the lead.
Oh dear, that's 4 minutes. 4 minute tow. Oh no.
Yeah, there's the steering wheel was at a full 90. There's no way I could have got it back without killing somebody else.
That is not, that crash is not as hard as I expected.
I've never had that happen before.
Yeah, you eat the curb a little bit.
It looks like you just oversped the corner a bit too hard and it just hooked, the tyre just hooked on the curb and around it went.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
Sorry guys. Yeah, sorry
Shit
guys.
happened.
It's good. Got that fast repair for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is another example of the reworked gravel physics here on the iRacing platform. Back in the day, you could just flat foot through there and get away with it rather scot-free. Now, on the other hand, you hit that gravel sideways and you may end up rolling it. I remember one time doing a broadcast where an LMP3 car barrel rolled in the runoff area at Spa. I believe it was heading through Snavelo, if my memory serves me correctly, the bottom end of the track. I will have to double check that here in a couple of moments' time, as that's a 211 car. That's an off-track.
Yep.
I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, was heading down into Mulsanne. As here's a moment for George Solbrum, and that is another moment, and bang, into the wall goes that 557 car, and guy gets spun back around in the right direction and all of that, but a pretty significant whack, and I think there was some rather significant damage on that car as well.
Here's the 211 coming through, and this is just a missed braking zone going through. That 557 in the pits here, using one of their faster pairs, unfortunately.
Of course, it had to be a fucking super long tow.
The best moment, and the number 98.
Yeah, you're on the middle of Mulsanne, so can't help.
And that is through Ford, and just getting away with it. Just a little bit of gravel, a little bit of landscaping there for the number 98 Prismatic Motorsports Athena, doing a very good job just to make sure the gravel is nice and level for anyone else that might have to run off track. That 557, George Sauerbaum in the BMW M-Plower 557 in the pits, I believe using
that will put us back to P10, I guess.
They've used prior to this though. We are of course approaching half race distance, so it'd be reasonable to believe that, I know the 557 had a big moment earlier on, so I would believe that there would be at least one car, or at least one fast repair that's been used between these M-Plower cars. I'm not sure which one though, if it was the 558 or the 557 that decided to check into a first class flight earlier on.
And continuing on with us, there we go. There's
number 16 is the number 16 is at the point limit of 120 reached.
Oh, we reminded Rock to look at the instant point count.
Between now and the end of our time on this show, want to raise this.
So I had
4.8.
There's another.
That was brought to our
I had 4.8 left on that stint, so I guess I'll just do one more and then we'll switch off.
Yeah.
Driver in this
We just cut short, it's fine.
Yep.
Had a chat earlier on with Oliver Svigstedt, and he lets us know that in the number 18 for Beta Frost, there is Nikolai Melja, I believe is the other pronunciation of that driver's name, who is 14 years old. I believe they're running in Hypercar 2. As much as I said that Bailey Thomas running in this
anything could happen, it's
doing
fine.
a lot better than I was at 16. Nikolai doing a heck of a lot
Definitely
better
not
than
been
I was
the
at
greatest
14.
of races
Back when I was
from all of
14,
us.
as I said right towards the start of my time on this show, I was drinking Red Bull and sounding like I hooked up my eyes to a car battery.
Car in front of us just drilled the wall in the pit as they were coming in.
I know what I was doing at 14. It was probably
10
just trying to
seconds.
make straight A's in school.
Toy.
You know, be the good noodle that I could.
Lawrence,
Probably
car number
right.
98
I
is now leading.
don't really know, to be honest.
Okay.
It depends on who you ask,
Can
I
hop in.
guess, on whether I was the good noodle.
Power changing. Fast repair done.
Number 8 in from third place in the Hypercar class here, Ron. Melody will be in. 14-year-old driver, so impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive that the driver of the number 8 car is both 14 years old, running in the top class in a Cadillac, which, as someone who drives the Cadillac GTP on iRacing, I can assure you, your chances of picking up antimatter with flimsy, half-held together chopstick would be better. That is a very valiant effort for that driver, and they will lose out on a spot to Scott
Okay,
Lawrence.
lads, the next car is car number 5.
Great car ahead. Car stopped ahead. There's an incident ahead. Go left.
Rejoining.
Slips their way up into third, so the Prismatic Motorsports Athena car making their way up into the podium spots overall.
So mind those curb, I guess.
Great run. Going through to see those cars continue
Oh,
to
I'm
flip
back
through.
in
I just think
P8.
as time goes, it will
26 seconds.
Again,
It's the next car behind.
You know, I think with 13 hours, 20 minutes left to go here, Ron, I don't think
That's about
anyone's
P8.
position is secure.
17 seconds to K.
Behind us now.
So we're still in top 10.
3 laps in
Which is
front.
good. You want that
Yep.
to be much more if you want to
We're
feel
still
comfortable.
the best
Can't
place
set it with
for
GT3,
raw.
a one-lap advantage.
Yeah, we are.
I don't think that secures anything because you hit an incident limit, you have anything happen, and well, it produces a whole bunch of issues. Rainbow Racing Helios hit the 120 incident limit, by the way, and has picked up a drive-through. So we're starting to see that that is possible to mix things in. And
The leader is coming up on you. They're not our fight.
The weed is coming up on you, then, not our fight.
As it is a big cushion that these drivers have.
Yeah, I know,
It's a
we
big
suck.
race
Thanks for
that they
reminding
have
me,
in front of
Jim.
them as well. So those incidents can get wrapped up over time.
Jeez, Jim, I know we suck.
Third and LMP2. This is getting spicy. Turn 1, gang a move
Coming up on a
down
slower
into
class
turn
car.
number 6 on the screen to Speed Dream Team 211 car. That's a big run and wide moment. Right behind them is a hypercar Porsche having another big moment. That's coming out of turn number 8. That could have ended in absolute disaster. The correction, that was actually out of turn number 7. Out of the S's.
Right side. Clear on the right.
Strip of grass. Get the lawnmower treatment so many times. I think that's probably the 5th or 6th driver we've seen go off there.
I don't want to put you off, George, but the broadcast called the smash.
Oh, did they?
Oh, I need to see
Yeah, I think it's
how
just
they
a matter of the
said
night
your surname.
time
Hold
catching
on.
people off guard. The corner's coming a bit quicker. Jordan Strain here in the
Said
0-1.
George Sawbrom.
Good, that's not me. That's somebody else.
Car on your left.
Sawbrom.
Yeah, there you go.
Clear on the left.
Battles happening. Things are getting
Who's this
spicy.
George Sawbrom twat?
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is, but that's identity theft.
That was impressive to see.
No, there's an off the B.
Flip its way back around here and go through. We've hit 4,500 euros. Ron, I'm going to put the challenge out there.
I mean, to be fair, if anyone's reading George's surname, I don't think anyone would be able to guess, like, how the hell do you pronounce that?
Hit the 5,000 euro goal before you and me get out of the booth in an hour and 15 minutes.
Ooh, that is a real good challenge. Hey, to all of you tuning into this
That's
program,
how they go the way back.
first off, I hope
Shit
you
happens.
enjoy tonight's coverage.
Yeah, shit
I say tonight, whatever time it is for you.
That means I'll get in the car earlier.
Racing action to look forward to here on RacePod TV this evening.
That's the first time in a long time that I've just put a car into a wall without any
That
help.
would be a real awesome goal to hit between now and our
Yeah, you gotta get it out of your
show
system, you
coming
know.
up rather soon, and I've absolutely enjoyed my time on this broadcast.
If I was gonna do it, I'm happy it's in a fun charity race and not a
Fantastic goal. Hey folks, tuning in. If you can,
not a
happy
special
to donate.
event or
We are
something.
Racing to
Yep.
benefit belong to the LGBTQ youth charity in Ireland, raising money to help out those folks who identify as an LGBTQ person. So if you'd like to donate, feel free to. And as we are still continuing on with this, we will bring in another driver to have a chat with.
Slower
this
car
time
ahead.
is going to be
Fucking
Billy
super
Ford,
car.
behind the wheel of the number 60.
What are they doing?
Racing solar effort, and we will drag them into the commentary.
Car
It
right.
is.
You've got wheel damage. Clear on the right.
Dude,
Looks like one of your wheels is out of alignment. You'll have left grip out there.
Satellite team as a race going.
Out there, I expect them to follow the normal racing line, right?
Race is going.
Your front end is a little bit dense, but steering should be straight.
And,
It's the same
it's been a
damage.
Very good.
Yeah, it says wheel damage.
Hour and a half, I'll say.
Does it feel fine now?
It feels alright for now.
Front, you got
Alright.
cushion
Yeah,
behind the
just
wheel.
Just mind the understeer.
Nope.
Because that should be the same sort of damage as I had when I had the affair with that McLaren.
I didn't know where to go. I thought they were just gonna follow the line, and they just did it. They just stayed down low.
Alex joined us for this one as well, which is a big part of why we have to right now.
Oh, this is a instant forget, that's for sure.
Very young guy, but mega talented and really quick. This is his first race on this track actually, so currently he's still slightly lacking the pace a bit, but he's definitely getting there, lap by lap.
And he certainly has a nice little cushion to try and get a grips to this racetrack, despite the fact he's running in the dark. 2 laps between yourself and the 220 car, currently running second in GT3. Myself and Brad have kind of raised this point in reference to having a gap like that. It can be a bit of a double-edged sword. As much as it is very good to have a gap like that, you can kind of grow a bit content, so to speak. Just be like, hey, I've got good cushion, I'm running happy and strong at the present moment, and then that will usually be when those mistakes brew. So I want to ask you about how you and the rest of the team
Right side, still there. That car is a lap down. Clear on the right.
Bear it in mind.
Clear right.
Yeah, well, we got some experience with that already. Last year we managed to lead the Brit car at 24 by 2 laps as well, with 30 minutes to go, and then
left side.
Clear left.
Clear on the left.
Come third.
The car behind is pitting.
So we will try everything to not let that happen this time.
And looking forward to the next 13 hours, 14 minutes, and somehow how long time is left to go in
Hold your line, clear
Clear on the right.
Raising
That
money
seemed
for
a bit
a good
sparse.
cause have already broken past the €4,500 goal, aiming for that 5,001. I want to ask you though,
Oh my god, yeah, it doesn't want to turn. That's great.
You cut the course, you've got to slow down and give up that time.
Obviously, always
need to slow
great
down a bit if you don't
have
want a
these
penalty.
shaky events going on, do some good. And then, yeah, I also personally can never say no to a 24-hour Le Mans race. And if it's combined with a good race,
38.233.
Okay, Lars, just keep hitting your marks. This is looking good. Slower class car ahead, P4. The guy in front is 3 laps behind.
Supports a wonderful charitable organization in the process as well. But Niels, thank you for joining us here in the commentary booth. Good luck to you and the rest of that number 64 Satellite Racing Solar team. And before we let you go and get back with your team as you still continue to lead in GT3, is there anybody you want to give a thanks or a shout out?
Yeah, obviously a big shout out to the whole team, and also especially I want to mention for the livery we are running. Chad Simpson has made that a while ago, and now we actually had a good chance here to use it. I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, it is a very good looking race car that you all have got out there on the racetrack and running in a very good spot as well. Currently 2 laps in the lead in GT3. Niels, thank you for joining us here in the
slower cars. They're class
commentary
leaders in this group.
seeing you and the rest of the team out there on the racetrack.
Left side.
Thank you, guys.
Clear left.
Clear.
And that right there was Niels Core, one of the drivers involved in that number 64 Satellite Racing efforts. They currently lead in GT3, and you can see how it's shaking out at the present moment.
Right side.
Clear right.
Clear.
Scout Lawrence.
Sorry, I thought I left up for enough for you to make that pass easily. Sorry about that.
We have another driver looking to have a chat with us. This one being a part of the number 97 Spec 7 racing team. I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, it is Brian Joa. So I will pass the buck off to you to have a chat with him. Brad, check your mic.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, we're
Again, I forget how to unmute. Good job, me. Brian, I know I talked to you with Jake earlier, so we're going to bring you back in and just kind of chat. I think we talked to you earlier with Jake. Am I mixing that up, Brian, or am I right?
I do think I went by the commentary box a little bit earlier, like, let's say 4 or 5 hours ago.
Okay, I thought so. I knew I remembered Brian earlier, and your last name seemed very familiar, so I thought I'd just take the guesstimate that I was right on that. Brian, what's kind of changed in the last few hours for your team? How's the team feeling right now?
So far we are feeling pretty good. The pace is coming back up. We still have the issue with the setup being really draggy on the straights, but we seem to have found our rhythm so far.
And I think that rhythm is super important there, especially for these hypercars going through and that Cadillac specifically. How has it felt when you've been in the car? Even though, again, it's sort of draggy on the straights. I know you said that's a bit of a setup issue, but is it still, is it drivable more through the corners than you think otherwise, even though you're losing a little bit of top speed?
Yeah, to be honest, it is a bit frustrating because we are losing out the MP2s. I figured we got overtaken.
Did that feel better through the Porsche curves that time?
Mildly.
To be fair, it does really feel enjoyable to drive.
It's probably because
it's
he
really
just
nice.
had the
I can
unoptimal line. You just
on the exits.
fire off the corner.
Yeah, it could potentially be worse to drive, so we are pretty happy.
33.283.
33.3 seconds.
So, and Brian, we talked to your teammate Jules earlier, and Jules said the goal was to have a top 10 when it was all said and done. Is that still the team goal, or do you all think you can shoot for anything higher than top 10?
Why do you guys keep doing that to
I
me?
would be pretty satisfied with the top 10. We've just been here to drive for fun, for a good cause. So the result wasn't really in our minds, but top 10 it's still on the cards. Like, we do think the satellite racing Galaxy could catch up to us.
The gap behind is now 18 seconds.
We should be able to hold out.
I think you all will be able to hold on to it and go through. Brian, of course, your second time here in the booth. Anyone you want to thank or shout out before we let you go back and support your team here for chasing down that 10th place finish?
Yes, we had a few. I have a few fans who also are kind of into the LGBT community, so I just like to say hi to them. But especially, we were supposed to be 5 drivers for the 24 hours tonight, and one of us had to call off due to personal scheduling. So I'd like just to give a shout out to Sebastian Kinder, who wasn't unfortunately able to make the race with us. And if that's alright with you, since we are mainly a team of French speakers, I'm the only Belgian in the team. All the other drivers are French.
Slower class cars ahead.
That's right with you. I'd like just to stand in a few words.
Right side. Clear right.
Clear.
Brian, it's going to be awesome to see how your team does here through the end. Good luck to you all, and we'll let you go back and support your team.
Just
Car on your left.
want to say a
Clear.
few words in French to Sebastian before I leave, because I hope he's watching at least. If that's okay with you, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Salut Seb, je sais que t'aurais voulu être là avec nous ce soir, mais t'as pas à t'inquiéter, la voiture est en de bonnes mains, on l'a assuré le coup, on va aller jusqu'au bout. Donc salut à toi, merci quand même de nous sentir.
Awesome, Brian. Appreciate it. I have no idea what he said in French, so hopefully something nice.
Well, if you wanted to a station, I said I knew you wanted to be there because the 97 is his favorite car number. But I just told him our car is between good hands and we're going to reach the finish to the race. So he's got nothing to be worried about.
Brian, well, definitely I think nothing to worry about. 97 seemed consistent, and fingers crossed that I didn't just commentator curse that. So we're going to let you go hang out with your team. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, thanks for the hard work you're doing tonight. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, and that was the second time I've talked to Brian here. Ron,
You got the course, you've got to slow down and give up that time.
As I was talking into it, so that
You need to
was
slow down if you don't
entirely
want a
on me.
penalty.
So we're part of the same crowd, Brad. Having that small little issue strike the both of us here, but nice to have a chat with Brian there. A couple of moments
Coming up on a
ago,
slower class car.
Giving some nice words to some of his teammates. We've talked about this a lot.
33.117.
Back off to bed.
These drivers come together.
Alright.
And, just be a part
So
of the
it is
process.
now
Bring
midnight.
some money
I will
for a
be
good
back
cause
in,
and having a heck of a lot of fun in the process.
say, 6.5 hours.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
Got it.
Probably.
Car on your left.
And run.
Clear on the left.
Yeah, I meant to be in the car at 20 to 8, my time.
Yeah.
So I'll just get up at 6:30 and I'll be like, stop.
With the team because
Yep.
it's so much fun.
Which is basically when my day
how
shift
they
alarm
go
goes off
through
anyway,
and
so.
support each other.
Yeah.
And even the other
Alright,
teams
cool.
supporting other teams.
I'm
nice.
just switch my PC
as
off
they
so we
go
can have a
through.
rest.
It's so much fun.
Quit.
Just kind of watching how they all work together.
Tell
This
Jim
leader in
to
LMP2,
piss off for the minute.
Federa with the twin turn sim racing, the number 23.
Oh yeah, sharp
Happy
marks on the
birthday, Liz.
broadcast.
Racing 42. Taylor Mills Racing 41, of course, in T2 and Hypercar. But we talked to Taylor
Right.
Mill earlier.
Right, boys, I'll see you in 6.5 hours.
Taylor Mill's very
Yeah.
pace is there.
See ya.
The consistency is there. The win is possible.
Slower class car ahead.
Yeah, there's still a lot
Left
of
Happy
side.
birthday.
Clear left.
Clear on the left.
13 hours and 5
Happy birthday, Liz.
minutes left on the clock. And for the drivers leading in
Happy
our
lift day,
classes,
Burr.
they are looking to hold on to the advantages that they have and make sure that those big pushes
Happy
that they
birthday,
have
Liz.
built up don't get absorbed between now
Happy
and
birthday, Liz.
whatever stint they may be on. It's still going to be a good one.
Happy
all the way
birthday,
through
Liz.
to the end of all of this. And Brad, I believe we are going to be jumping out of the booth here in a couple of minutes.
Car
All
right.
right. Clear right.
Clear on the right.
Happy birthday, dear Whitney.
Wonderful events this has been up to this point. Breaking boundaries, raising money, and having a heck of a lot of fun in the process.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch. I love that we've gotten through the 4,500 euro goal. We're still chasing that 5,000 euro goal. I still have
Happy
a goal
birthday.
there before half race, so again, everything benefits belong to LGBTQ plus Youth Ireland. So whatever you can do to support, if you have the ability to support, definitely help out.
The gap
because
behind
I'd
is
love to
now
see that 5,000
15
euro goal
seconds.
be broken here in the next hour and 4 minutes. Such a great benefit, great organization to be supporting as well here in the Race for a Cause 24 and 2025.
Yeah, and looking through at all the people who have donated, all the people in the YouTube chat sharing your support between any drivers that you may be a fan of, any drivers who you may be personally fans of, whether or not it may be certain people in the YouTube chat cheering on their partners, cheering on their friends, cheering on their teammates. It's been a wonderful
Head is pitting.
up to this point, so this is going to be a heck of a lot of fun all the way up to the checkered flag. Olympus Esports Atlas still finding
Yes,
himself
this
in the
is
race
the car
lead at
in
the
the
moment
pit
in the
stop.
number 21 machine. Looking a little bit farther back in LMP2, turn sim racing finds himself in the lead in LMP2, and in GT3 Satellite Racing Solar, who were able to have a chat with one of their drivers a couple of moments ago. They find themselves with a 2-lap gap in GT3, so that's how it stands at the present moment. Pass off for us.
I have been informed that it is now 4:20 in many places in Europe and the UK right now. So.
Donations continuing to raise through.
Great,
now
I can
at
stop smoking my crack.
€4,515.69. Nice.
I don't know about you, but I mean, hey,
3.329. You got a slow car on the right.
Watching battles go through.
We'll take a while.
Is back in the car,
No.
looks like.
Just continuing to lap cars like they are in a different class.
Only heroin.
Are we sure that the GT3 leader isn't running like a GT2 and everybody else
The only
is running
alternative.
GT4? Because this is getting a little bit ridiculous.
Maybe some nitrous involved in the number 64 team. They have been indomitable ever since we joined this
Again,
broadcast.
thank you very much,
Back
everyone.
about
I
2 hours
appreciate
ago,
the well wishes.
They are running very, very
Hope you're all
quick.
doing
Maybe
well.
Nitrous, maybe the other Spaceballs quote. They're kicking on the Queasy.
That one went over my head for some reason. I don't know why.
Thank you.
I'm gonna blame it on the time, of course.
Oh my god.
Dead of the night here in
I still can't believe that Jordy Suss is on the race spot broadcast.
Here in a couple minutes to Jeremy and Mike. They're gonna have an absolutely amazing time taking on this late night stint. Hopefully there are no cake comments or energy drink.
George, I think there's one moment that the broadcaster is talking about the team name of the sister car, right?
Car right.
Hold your line. Clear right.
Clear on the right.
Oh boy, that is a very loaded question. I do have a adult beverage, but I also have a water.
That should be interesting.
So, we'll see what happens. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
I've
done the thing now where I am muted and started talking. Everybody is doing that thing. You love to see it. As, of course, a massive thank you. I'm doing wonderful. Massive thank you as well to, of course, Brad Dalton and Ron Mons. They're going to be joining us back later on here tonight. But for the next 4 hours or so, it's going to be Jeremy Scott and myself, Mike Noss, in the booth. And Brad, to answer your question, I agreed with you earlier in the chat when you said that Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper
Clear on the left.
is absolutely incredible. I won't say the words that I want to say, but I had one before the broadcast, of course, and now
Thank you.
The mix of energy powder. I don't know. It's a undisclosed brand of energy, so I'm well caffeinated.
Ayo.
For this midnight stint. How about yourself, Roy? I guess we already got it from Jeremy.
Yeah. You know, here's the thing. So the way
Right
I'm
side.
going to go right to that
Stay
after
right.
is because
Clear.
this past week I've been doing some TV production. Next week I'm doing TV production. So what that means is I've got to be up at like 1:30 in the morning. So
It looks like the 77 car decided to call it a day.
They didn't decide to call it a day. They were asked to call it a day.
As well as you know, the lovely sounds and sights
That's what I
of
expected.
Le Mans under the lights.
Like, after that thing with us, I think race control is shouting at them. If you guys doing that kind of thing again, you are disqualified.
We've had some fairly
Kind of
decent
thing.
battles, but of course, as the race has gone on and the midnight is approaching, the weather also getting closer. Just wanted to shout
So
that
I
out a
think
little
that
bit. We're probably
that's
not
the
gonna be
case.
seeing that in our stint, though, but more than
There's an
likely
incident
around
in
that
Tetra
4
Rouge.
a.m. mark
Looks
is
like it's
when we're going to
Banfield.
start to see the rain chance kind of start to come into play, and then as it gets to the 9 a.m., we might
Because
definitely
that
see some rain.
incident with us is just so shit.
Close calls, all things considered, and here as we pull up a replay,
Back to the 40, Jim. What are you talking about?
Nina Hahn from the Olympus Esports team, and
Slower car
yes,
ahead.
it is
It's
a
their
little bit
class
of a
leader.
lock up there through Arnage, I think that is. I can't quite see where exactly. I think, yeah, it is through the Arnage corner, one of the slower ones out there. And next up, Zul going for a little bit of a spin around and a pirouette, and that is just sort of the nature of the entrance to what looks to be the Porsche
on your left.
I think.
Clear left.
Clear.
I think that's coming on to the straight. Yeah, it's just
It's
that
kick
time
out
of
that
night.
corner
and got a slow down penalty.
Yeah, it's just that time of night where
You need to slow down to give back the time
Yeah,
gain.
this year's pretty bad.
you know,
Yep.
Gap to Nicklaus.
As expecting.
It's now 15 seconds.
sure that is. Yeah, this is that time of night where we're just going to sit there and say, okay, well, here's the spin. Where's it at? Here's the spin. Where it's at. Looking at the YouTube chat, Kit Kat chiming in.